These are the topics today, guys. Varying different topics that we can discuss. Why is nobody talking about English people not understanding English? That's my first question. Why is nobody talking about white culture being war, schmex tourism, and paedophilia? Why are people not talking about that? Why are people not talking about black and brown unity being the key to a better world? Why are people not talking about white people being such victims? Why are people not talking about black and brown people choosing oppression? And if any of those subjects do not take your fancy, you can also ask me a question. You can ask me anything. So, hi, Rasta Punky. Good to see you. Good day to you. Des is here. Hello. Yeah, my live got shut down. They actually gave me a violation, but they told me they're lifting it because I'd said that men were not great people, not great. They gave me a violation, but then I like, no, it was a mistake. So that's why my live got shut down. But my live function will be reinstated in 2 days' time on the other account. So we are on this account for the time being. So these are the topics today, guys. If anyone wants to come up and have a conversation, of course, as usual, you are more than welcome to discuss anything, a prompt on the screen. And of course, as I said, there's also questions as well, if you would like to ask me. Nate, good day to you, Nate. How are you? Hope you're good. Okay, we've got Lemaine, please. Lemaine, how are you? Am I saying that right? Or Lemane? Lemane? Hello, Lemaine? Oh, you've gone into... Oh, yeah, hello. Are you there? Oh, you've gone on mute. Okay, I don't know what you're doing, but when you're ready, you can come and have a conversation. Des, how are you today?
I'm good, thanks, darling. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm not bad. Yeah, so hopefully you just heard what I said. Is that, oh, and I saw your response. Maybe it was a man. Maybe it was a man that got upset at the conversation. Maybe it was a man. So,
and then it was a woman that lifted it.
Could be, exactly, it could be. They gave me a response. I read it just very briefly this morning and they said, oh, we're really sorry about the inconvenience caused on this. They gave me, basically, they told me it was hate speech and behaviour, something or other. And I'm like, I didn't say anything hateful about them. I said that they were a bit of a problem, but it was about us and empowering ourselves. So, yeah, they said, we're really sorry about it, which was a surprise to me because sometimes when I've spoken to TikTok before, they've been like, no, there's nothing we're going to do about it. So I'm like, okay. So what would you like to discuss today, Des? Or did you want to continue what we were talking about yesterday?
That's okay, darling. But I was just looking at one of your prompts here, black and brown unity. I would like to see that, Fox. Yeah. That's what I would like to see. Because I know we've had a discussion before, but I really am not a racist person. Like, I don't look at people by the colour of their skin. I look at people how they treat me. So, you know what I mean. And I do understand where you're coming from totally, because a lot of it is generational trauma. So, of course, that's going to go on for generations, isn't it? And nothing, unfortunately, nothing much has changed. They just try to ice over everything.
Yeah. So why do you think that black and brown unity would be the key to being a better world then?
Well, I just think everyone should get along. Like, we just need to, you know, love each other and get rid of all the hate.
I know, but that doesn't say including white people in there, though, Des. I know we've had the conversation before. It doesn't have white people in there, so why would I not put?
I just reread it again, but I would like to see. I would like to see that happen. You know what I mean? Because I come from Australia, so you would be quite aware what's going on here with our Indigenous people. So it would be nice to see everything calm down. You know what I mean?
But how do we manage to do that, do you think?
Oh, I don't know, Fox, honestly. I wish it was a click the finger situation, but it's not. And I think eventually maybe people will get more educated, you know what I mean? It's education, really, isn't it?
Yes, education is a massive, 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 massive part of this, a huge part. But from a black and brown perspective, it is very much a case of we've been talking about our stories for quite some centuries now. We've been talking about the experiences that we've had in the world, and it has been a case of white people dividing us and trying to remove us from our stories and remove us from our heritage. And then there has been a lot of manipulation, of course, as part of that too. And Rosie Lee, good to see you, says it's also the system and politics. Exactly. It is in so many different areas that it is just not as simple as, you know, everyone needs to love each other. It doesn't happen like that. It can't happen like that. And it is really just about the listening and the learning. For Black and Brown unity, what it needs to be for us is that there needs to be, first of all, understanding history. Like, that is very, very important. Like, for everybody, actually, understanding history properly is a very, very big part of that. And then it's also about how. Please don't interrupt. I'm clearly speaking.
Stop, you bitch! Before I cut your hair off.
Oh my dear me! How rude! How rude are you, mate? You've got nothing better to do than come on and be a troll. Oh, I'm a bitch, all right, mate. But I'd love you to come and
do something about it. I'm hiding on the camera.
Okay, big guy 2303. How are you today?
Yes, fantastic, thank you.
Okay, what's your issue?
Well, English people not understanding English.
No,
what do you mean by that?
I'm asking you, what's your issue? What's your problem? You came up here and interrupted a conversation between myself and somebody else. You felt like you had to come up here and interrupt. You had to come up here and interrupt. What's your issue? What is your problem?
Well,
what's your problem?
Okay.
Thank you very much, Neanderthal. We are done with that one. Des, yes, let's continue. So yes, what we were saying was, it's about, as I said, understanding the history, right, of people and trying to emotionally detach from history. This is very, very important. What we're seeing is that white people are too upset at us discussing history and discussing the truth of history. And it's like, but you guys say that you weren't there, so why get upset at us talking about it and the things that need to happen, you know? And it's very frustrating for us because we're just talking about the truth of what we've experienced. And as part of Black and Brown division, it has been because of white people and colonization dividing us and spreading us around the world. That is very, 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 very hard for us to deal with, first of all, and to try to find ourselves back together in white Western European worlds because they're not willing to understand how that's even happened in the same place. And thank you, ancestors. We need to know where we are from in order to know where we are going. That's really important. Yeah. Des? Des, you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Sorry. As I said before, I think education is one of the key things. People are allowed to speak their truth. And you have been an oppressed, people for a long, long time. And that all needs to stop. And I don't know how we're going to go about having that conversation.
Yeah, being oppressed is shit.
Oh, we've got another one. But
I'll stand up for Henry Novak.
Okay, hold on, British nationalists, don't interrupt, please. Okay, I'm obviously having a conversation. You'll do what? You'll do what, Neanderthal? You'll do what?
I'll get revenge for Henry Novak. You know how you make fun of him all the time. You make fun of his family. You make fun of all the white people who are dead. You sit here on your platform, you'll make fun of dead white people, you make fun of dead white women. This is what you do. Don't lie to yourself. I look in your videos all the time.
Quote me. What have I said?
You made a video saying, did Henry Novak deserve to die? And you just sit there taking the piss out of his family.
That's the question. His family? What have I said about his family?
You take the piss out of him, you take the piss out of his family.
No, what have I said? What have I said specifically? What have I said?
You just make fun of dead Henry Novak.
No, what have I said? You're saying things that I've said things, and I'm asking you to quote me. What have I said, please? Where have you gone? Are you going to go and find out what I've said? You're going to go and get your research. You're going to go and find out exactly what I've said. So what did I say? What did I say?
Finding it out.
What? What?
I think you said he's finding out, Fox.
He's finding out. Okay, good. Good. Exactly. Because if you come here and try to accuse somebody of saying something, please bring the proof. And I'll ask you to do that. And of course, he won't be able to find anything because I never said anything about his family. I never said anything about Henry either. What I have said is that he did bully the situation.
You've deleted the videos. You had way more videos on your platform before. You've deleted loads of them.
You're on the. If you need to check my other account, I will direct you.
Your other account,
go to. Yes, relax. Go to Fox 3. All of my videos are on that account. This is my other account. Okay, go there, find the video, and quote me exactly what I said.
Oh, Nate, shut the fuck up, Nate, you fucking little fucking faggot. Come Liverpool then, you little faggot.
Why?
I will.
Why? I'm obviously not in England. Maybe you don't know. I'm not in the UK anymore. I left many years ago, and I don't know why you were. Why would you need to? See, this is. So English person, there's a reason why the world is very much not liking you, because you have this aggressive, violent behaviour. You have a violent, disgusting way about yourselves that you show yourselves for who you are. Okay, we talk. I'm obviously not going to do that because you've come here. You're supposed to be going to my other account, right? You're supposed to be going to my other account and finding this information. You're disconnected, obviously. You're supposed to be going and finding about what I've actually said. Instead, you've decided to just hurl a torrent of abuse towards me, which is exactly what happens in the Neanderthal. You hear how he was talking about 100 miles an hour, Just go and find the information. Literally, just go.
Fox, it's them German Neanderthals, hon. Okay.
Yeah, I know. We're aware, but sometimes I do let them speak and let them have their little moments, so everybody else can see exactly what these people are like, right? So we know exactly what we're dealing with. It is black or brown people. Like I say, unity is the key for being a better world, and white people aren't involved in that because we have too much of that. We have too much of the behaviour of not actually understanding how the world was prior to colonisation and seeing people's behaviour of how it is right now. But Aston, how are you? Long time.
I'm good, Dave. I had to take a break. I went to Greece for a bit, 2 weeks.
Oh, lovely. Which part? Which bit? Did you go to mainland Greece or the islands?
No, I went to Crete.
Crete. Oh, lovely, gorgeous.
I went to Crete,
gorgeous. Is it right that nobody's got mod powers on this account? People should have. Do you have mod powers?
I don't know. Let me look. No, not on here. No.
Oh, why is that not working then? Hold on. I don't know what's happening. I don't know, guys. Skyper, you say you don't. Hold on. Let me see. Hold on, yeah, we can add some people. I don't know why it's not letting me add you. Okay, I'm not sure why I can't add you as well. From Skyper, you should have. Aston, for some reason, it's not letting. Oh yeah, follow back. Hold on, that's why. You've got to accept my follow back request. Fox. On this account, because I barely use this account, so you should have a follow back thing request now. Okay. And you have to do it, so then I can add you after. Anyway, what subject would you like to discuss today, Aston? Well, there's a plethora of topics.
I can't really stay in the boxes. I'm getting ready for work. I actually only came up when the German Neanderthal came up and was doing the voice. But I was thinking, I was really thinking about last night. I'm going to reach out because I know a few people that are in the field. I'm going to ask them if there is any studies currently going on about these white people that can come into a live like this, can see you poised and all your decorum and being demure, and then just seeing the amount of white people that come in here and just it's anger and abuse and violence and I'm getting revenge, and there has to be. We know because of colonisation and stuff and white supremacy, we know why they've been indoctrinated like this. However, it still baffles how, as a human adult, how you can come in here, see all of that behaviour, but still come up here and say, Fox, you're racist, you don't like white people, you're promoting violence against white people, you celebrate. It's like, it's actually mind-boggling to me. Like,
Yeah.
not one of them will sit in here and think, hold on, she's right. Look at all these white people being racist and aggressive and angry and threatening, and it's actually crazy.
Yeah, it's all projection. The thing about the studies, I would be interested to read these studies and see these studies. I don't know if they, I can't know if they have, because I haven't actually researched into it. I have seen more about the uncovering of the Neanderthal. I'm seeing more of that content at the moment, just understanding the truth of the Neanderthal, right? Yeah, it's about that. It's about where they came from and who they exactly are. So I've seen that. I don't know if there are things to do with, there must be somewhere, because they've talked about the different skull shapes, right? They've talked about the caucasoid skull shapes, but I don't know if they've talked about the different brain patterns or different brain functions between Neanderthal descendants and people from the global majority. I don't know. And even, of course, the difference between that and Asian people, because Asian have a certain percentage of Neanderthal in them as well. So I don't know. I don't know. It would be really interesting to see, because the brain function and the ways of communication is so different. It is completely different. Like we can see, and like you see, and we see it all the time on this app. It's the aggression. It is the fury. It's just so much anger inside them, and the way that they don't even hear themselves, and they don't even hear conversations correctly. And that's why my first prompt is English people don't understand English, right? So, like I said, my question was, did Henry Novak deserve to die? That's a question. But they'll be like, oh, but you said, like he just said, you said this about his family, and then you did this, and you said that he was about this. And like, I never said any of those things at all. Where did you get that from? Go and find out where that came from.
Do you know what it is? Because first and foremost, they will purposely misinterpret what you're saying, purposely. I've seen this come up in so many lives, and I always say to them, please just go to any news article on social media about a BLK person being unalived, please, and just look at the comments from the YT people. Just look at the disgusting comments on there. And again, listen, Fox, I could just delve so deep into this, but I don't have all the time in the world. What I would say is, though, however, the same YT people being such victims, I do think that is, at this point, that's evolution doing its thing. I really do. I think,
yes,
if we're calling a spade, and I don't want to be a pick-me, but if we're calling a spade, like when it comes to being naturally gifted, we're the mutants, right? So I think when it comes to biology and stuff, naturally, we are going to be less, what's the correct terminology for TikTok? It's like with me, I like to curse. We are naturally, I'm just going to say, let's say gifted, a nice way, gifted. That's just what I think it is. I think some of it just comes down to science. I think the whole victim mentality is, I think finally, especially these days, finally, so much of it is being shoved back in white people's faces. Their defense mechanism automatically is anger, aggression. It's not, oh my God, look at the real information we're getting now. Because they love it when it's a conspiracy theory that's been proven to be right, something they believe in. They're all over it. But when it comes to real history, they're like, no, we
and especially if it doesn't make them look favourable, they immediately
they'll say, look at the state of Africa before we went over there. We gave India the railroad. It's actually nutballs. It really is crazy. Instead of just looking and thinking, how vile and disgusting can I do anything to even try and start even the playing field again, or be a part of a conversation that can maybe help to heal, or any of them sort of questions that you can only really ask the people that have been oppressed for all this time. You can't come up with the solution yourself. You just are thinking when it comes to...
Why do you think you're so different then, Aston, from the rest of the Neanderthals? Like, have you checked your family, your genetics?
I don't mind copying my own tea. So when I was, I'd say late to, I obviously grew up, my city is, obviously we're minority white now, so minority white city. So I'm fortunate that I've grew, just all my friends were from different cultures. And even, so I obviously was a teenager in 2005, 2006, and I will cut my own tea and say, me and my friends, say my friends from Nigeria, Jamaica, etc., we would all make disgusting jokes about each other like it was the norm. Now, thinking back of the jokes I would make, it makes me feel sick. Thinking of the jokes I let them say about me being gay makes me feel sick. However, none of us were educated about it. It weren't, even though it didn't come from a place of, they weren't saying it because I'm gay. It was just what you did as teenagers. However,
I know.
I had one conversation one time with one of my friend's mums, and she explained to me that she was like, why do you let people even, and I was like, oh, actually, you're right. And then she was like, and also, you should, as a white person, you should not be making them sort of jokes, because there could be that one person in the room who doesn't know you. And I thought, no, that's actually bang on right. Like, none of that is okay. And then I don't know, I then started just self-teaching and actually looking into things properly. And I think for me, it got to a certain point where I thought, England has lied so much about its history. I did get to the point where I thought, I can't really believe anything they've said about English history, to be honest. Like, I can't. Whereas the issue is as well, I think a lot of English people specifically don't understand this. So much African history was actually erased. We don't even know the tip of the iceberg. Like, we only know the information we know because of people like you, Fox, and people that came before you, who actually go out there and get the information. So
it's also like just really interesting being someone from African descent, and I've mentioned this before, and it is basically, if you come from the global majority or if you have an indigenous lineage from the black and brown world, the story lives within us. It's like, it's people that try to understand now DNA and DNA imprinting, and this is why English people, white people, tend to crash out with these things. They're angry for why? Because they also have a story imprinted in their DNA, and it is the one of the colonizer, right? So that's why they get upset. But for us, we are uncovering the truth of what actually happened beforehand. So I've mentioned this before, is that we don't actually have to be incredibly well read about our history. We just seem to know, and we seem to remember. And when we connect with someone else, we're like, hold on, yeah, that's exactly what happened to our people. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's an inherent knowing that we're uncovering. And I think you also, with your inherent knowing as well inside you, started to activate and be like, do you know what? Yeah, this feels like it's better, because the society we grew up in obviously was trying to tell us opposite things, right? It was trying to tell us, you know, we should be discriminatory towards this group of people and blah, 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 blah. Before the 1500s, nothing like this was ever happening. It was only until the Anglo-Saxons started colonizing and made being gay illegal, made being black and brown a problem, made being disabled, like just horrible, you know, they did all of these things. So now we are starting to sort of understand what has happened beforehand and remembering. War Goddess, for some reason on this account, there is not, some people haven't got their privileges, that's why. Are you on the same account, Water Goddess? Your name is Mystical Downpour on here, right? So I should add you as a moderator on here, which I'm going to do right now. So for some of you guys, if you don't have it, because I'm probably just going to continue on doing the conversation, and then I will add in all of the moderator privileges after the live has ended. But just do let me know if you haven't got it afterwards.
I'm going to drop Fox.
Okay.
I'm going to go.
All right. Thank you so much, Aston. It was good to meet you. Thank you. You too. Bye, love. Bye. Okay, we got Kin Kane next, please. Kin Kane, how are you?
I'm fine. Good morning, Fox. Just to
Good
let you know.
day to you.
So I've been following your material for a little while, and I must say to you that I appreciate and love the way how you carry yourself, the way how you explain things so eloquently and so on point. So keep doing what you're doing, sister, because you are helping, right?
Thank you,
That's
brother.
number one.
Thank you.
All right. So the prompt that I would like to speak on, let me just try to keep it short and concise if I can. So the prompt that I will speak, I can speak on them all, I'll be honest with you. But
it's your choice. You go. This is a space for everybody. Go for it.
Cool. So the first one is English people not understanding English, right? Now, for me, I think I would term that as I think that's coming from an educational standpoint, all right? And the fact that the educational system has been made to educate people in order for the system to run, right?
Yes.
It's not educating people for the truth, right? Regardless of what the area of academia may be. It doesn't educate people with truth, okay? Especially with the law. I had a brother that went to one of the best law schools in this country, but when he got into problems with the law, I had to take him to an uncle that I have who knows the actual law. Right. And my uncle had to actually help him. But he went to the best law school in this country. Do you understand? But the things my uncle was teaching him about, he had no idea. Do you understand? So I think it's very important for us to understand that the system that they have created, it creates educated fools, for a lack of a better word. Right.
Yes, that's a good phrase. Educated fools. Yes.
Yeah. Right. So I think at the same time, when it comes to the understanding part, especially like with the guy that came up, I'm not sure what his name is, right?
It's not important to know.
Yeah,
they're all the same
100%.
person. This happens like 10 times a day. It's just
I can imagine the idiot, the idiocracy. I can imagine what you have to deal with. It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
But for me, like I said, when he opened his mouth, all I was hearing was people that are not educated, right? All I was hearing was someone who can't read and write properly, and they have to be spoon-fed their information, and then they go out there and regurgitate whatever it is that they've heard, right?
Yes.
That's all I heard. And on the majority, I'm going to be real with you, I think that whitey privilege has dumbed down a good portion of that race of people.
The opportunity is given to them for nothing.
Exactly. So no need for critical thinking. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think when we are talking to a lot of them, the situation is, I literally think in their hearts that they feel as though everything they are saying and doing is spot on. Do you understand? So for us to try to have that dialogue with them, I think is non-existent, to be honest with you. Right?
Yes.
So in terms of the understanding part and them, and I think that's null and void. That's the God's honest truth, and that's my final answer on that. Right? In terms of the third one, in terms of black and brown unity being the key to a better world, if we go back into history, if we go back into our story, both, we would realize that when black and brown people were, so to speak, forming and creating their own civilizations, this world was a much better place for it.
That's right.
The Moors came to Europe and the more civilized Europe, but we didn't do it through enslavement of people. Okay. We did it. Yes, we had to be stringent because we are dealing with people who are not educated on anything. So of course we have to be a certain way. It's just like when you're dealing with an animal, there's a certain way you have to train that animal. Okay. So we came to Europe and we civilized Europe, but we built the first universities in Europe. We brought irrigation to Europe. Do you understand where I'm coming from? So without us, what would the world be like? Do you understand?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I think that black and brown unity is going to be better for everybody, especially as scientifically, I mean, this can be argued and anyone could argue their point, right? But scientifically, the first proven people on this planet are BLK people, okay?
Yeah.
The oldest bones that has ever been found on this planet is from a BLK woman. So at the end of the day, we can argue all types of different points, but without us, there is no society, so to speak of. All right. So yes, black and brown unity being a key to the better world. I totally agree with that prompt. Like I'm going to speak on those two, and I'm going to give the floor to someone else because, as I said, I can go on all day, Fox. And I haven't. I got up today and I just saw this, so I thought, let me try to jump on so that I can meet you and have a bit of a chat. But I've got my children and everything dealing with at the same time. So I apologize. I can only be so long.
No,
All
that's
right.
okay. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for the reality check as well. I think for of course a lot of people. I actually need to educate myself more about the Moors, right? And I love it when people come here and they come with their lots of different knowledge and the things that they've known and seen in the world. And of course, a lot of it can be down to our personal experiences and our own observations, but a lot of this also is like I've also mentioned, the inherent knowledge, and it's also the things that we read and what we're studying. The fact of the matter is the Moors were very, very, very powerful and very prevalent people in history and society. And like you say, King Kane, the way that it introduced certain languages and cultures and traditions throughout the world, it was very, very important. And I think that's what's been a very big problematic thing for Europeans, is that they've erased things. They showed no respect for any culture and any civilization that came beforehand. And when I talk about this, I talk mainly about English and British Empire. Those are the people who are the most disrespectful. They can't even credit the Romans or the Greeks, like other white people, because they don't deem them as being white enough, right? So they don't credit them either. So I think that's what became a problem. It's the Anglo-Saxon, because where they came from, there was nothing. There was absolutely nothing where they came from. And then they just had to, steal everything and just say, well, we came up with everything. It's us. We did it. Nothing existed for 300,000 years beforehand. We need to do the manipulation. We need to do the brainwashing and say that everybody else was a problem. And that, it's really unfortunate, because the world would be so much more beautiful if we actually could see the full story of humanity in all of its problems and all of its glories. This is the problem. When the Anglo-Saxons came, they just did a madness. They did a madness on the entirety of humanity and human history. That's the problem.
Just to add to that as well, Fox, right? So you see, and I love the way how you differentiate between the different YT people, right? So just to show you, the German man, look at the history that Germany has got, okay? And look at the fact, if you go to Germany, their history is everywhere. They do not hide it. They do not run from it. It's like, this is what we have done. It was wrong. And do you know what? Let's try to make amends in whatever way we can. Right? We've
talked about this before, and this is the thing, right? Sorry to interrupt you, but just because we've talked about this before. But imagine if the Anglo-Saxons stayed in Germany, they would have had the same ideology, the same mindset. They would have been more as honest as the Germans are, but the English are not honest.
Yes, true.
And that's the difference.
Very, very true.
Right, I'm going to move to the next person, King Kane. Thank you so much for the conversation. It was really lovely to talk to you. I hope you have a great day, and please do come by again. I also do have a black panel as well, by the way, that runs on a Saturday morning. So I'm trying to get more of my brothers and sisters together for a Black African Caribbean chat as well. So Saturday mornings from 9 a.m. I run that. So please come back, because it would be really good to talk to you again.
Yeah, I'll
You've got
send
so
you a
much
follow
knowledge.
and I'll look out for that. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Right, we've got self-discipline next, please. Self-discipline, how are you?
Just to say, that chap who wanted to talk
please
about
don't interrupt. Please don't interrupt. So everybody who's on my panel now, please do wait your turn, because I will. Oh, self-discipline. You've got a lot of backgrounds. You've got Windy in the back. So everybody who's here at the moment, please don't interrupt.
So they had a slave network called the Sakaliba, where they traded African slaves.
The official King Kong cannot control himself as a Neanderthal. I just was explaining the rules, and he couldn't even wait to hear the rules of the panel, so he's been dropped. I let some people in the beginning have their Neanderthal crash outs, but now, since the panel is full, we haven't got time for all of this nonsense, okay? Neanderthals, if you cannot control your talk box, it's a drop for you. Self-discipline, are you back again, please? Self-discipline?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, is it better now?
It's quite windy. No, it's too windy. I'm so sorry. It's too windy. If you find yourself in a better place, self-discipline, we just can't hear you in the background. It's too windy in the background. So if you find yourself in a place with more shelter, please do come back and try again. Okay, we've got Droog today. Droog, how are you?
You caught me cleaning my teeth. I thought I had a couple more minutes. But the guy was too windy.
But good.
It's just a quick one from me, because I've got to crack on. I really like the guy talking about education. in the UK and the education that white people have had. It's a point that I constantly make on live streams, actually, in these kind of debates. If we go back to 2010, the Tory party back then deliberately underfunded education. And they did that because they wanted to be able to have a population of people that were easier to control.
Yes.
And that's coming to fruition now. So if you look at the early 2010s, 2015s, people that are in school then are coming through into being a grown adult now. A lot of those grown adults now, particularly men, are the types that are falling for the whole reform, restore nonsense. So you've got all these like 18, 19, early 20s lads coming out into the world thinking that, you know, it's fun to debate people on the internet when their debate skills are probably as lengthy as just shouting you're a pedo at people. What I find really quite entertaining about that is that was a Tory plan and that was very deliberate. But the Tories have failed to monopolise on that because Boris Johnson kind of screwed everything up for them by having a party during COVID. So now the people that are actually benefiting from that Tory party policy back in the 2010s are people like Nigel Farage who are baiting these people. And, you know, it's essentially we've got a whole generation of children that have been deliberately poorly educated, so they then can be later manipulated by politicians in order to do what they want. And that's why the world is full of so many stupid people. And it's what I think one of the most interesting things about what drives this perception about white people being so stupid is that the stupid ones are the ones that come up onto panels like this and start talking bollocks, because they don't understand that they're stupid and that they shouldn't join panels like this because they're going to be made to look stupid. Intelligent people know if they're going to join a panel like this to, you know, wait to speak, you know, put forward an actual point, and things like that. But it's to be honest with you, I think, like, to a point, I've got a lot of sympathy for the children that were mistreated as their education was destroyed 10 years ago. But now they've become adults. And to be honest with you, as adults, they should know better. So if you're a 26-year-old lad that's still repeating the same nonsense that you got taught as a 16-year-old lad, then that's just on you at this point, isn't it?
Yeah. So why do you think then, in your mind, Droog, this is because I know the answer from my perspective and from black and brown people's perspective, but why do you think that black and brown people who are also in the same system are excelling? When it comes to their education, why is it only working class boys that are the ones who are so far behind?
It's entitlement. They just think they're entitled to things. And again, that comes like from... So I've done a lot of recruitment in my life, right? Because I've been a manager in retail for many years. I've done a lot of recruitment. And what you learn about, when you go in and do recruitment courses and learn how to recruit, what you learn to be very conscious about as a recruiter is that you like yourself. So you recruit things that you like that are similar to you. So if someone sits down for you in an interview and they're similar to you, they've got similar likes, similar interests, you're more likely to give them a job, right?
Yeah.
And it boils down to the fact that if a white man sits down in front of me, he's more likely to have the same interests than me because I'm white as well. For example, football. Yeah? Football's like a universal language between white, British and English men. It is. We all love it. Every single one of us. I can sit down in any room and I can go up to a white guy and go, what's your favourite football team? And it's instant friendship. So if you sit in an interview and you interview someone that likes the same football team as you, you're more likely to give them that job because you like what you see. And if it's the same as you like it.
It's an unconscious bias.
It is, absolutely. And you have to be aware
bias.
of that. You've got to be aware of that unconscious bias. So when someone does sit down in front of you that maybe isn't white, okay, that maybe doesn't share the same interests as you can still assess that person as a candidate for the job, as opposed to just looking at them and going, yeah, he likes Man United, so do I, let's get him in the shop. I think what's interesting
when it comes to job thing, we've talked about the CV discrimination before.
Absolutely.
So the surnames. If you have a more ethnic sounding surname as a black or brown person, you're less likely to get an interview.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, even myself, I do have an English sounding first name, but I've also talked about this before, that when I've got into the job, I've also not finished my interview when that door closes or when I leave that office. I'm continuing after. I'm saying to them, speaking to the recruiter, saying, oh, I really want that job. Can you tell them blah, 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 blah. So I know I need to go over the top on trying to get that job. And I've gotten every job that I applied for. I had many different jobs in many different industries, web and graphic design. I was in engineering, I was in education, I was in wine, many different places. So I knew inherently I had to work harder than the average person whose surname is like Brown or Smith or something like that. I already knew that.
Final point before I go. Did you see the news this week? It proved me right. The news this week said a report by the latest Labour government. They've done a study into education quality and achievement, and their study shows that working class white children, particularly boys, are really, really poor achievers in 2026. Okay, I've been saying it for years. The Tories have deliberately underfunded education to make us thicker, and then the Labour have put out a report that exactly proves me right. They've done it deliberately. They've dumbed us down deliberately. Everybody, all the working class, they've dumbed us down deliberately so they can control us.
But that's what I mean. Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like black and brown working class kids. I mean, we come into the country as working class. Black and brown people came in as working class, but we're still able to excel. So this is where we talk about culture, right? This is what I was trying to get at, is that, and I even have a video on my other page that's pinned now again about, so please don't interrupt. Live rent free. You've heard the rules. Don't interrupt, please. For everybody else who is new on the panel, please don't unmute. Please don't interrupt. Otherwise, you will be dropped from the panel, okay? Because we go one at a time. You see, there's a lot of people waiting, so we have to go one at a time so we can hear each other. So I've talked about, you've mentioned the entitlement, but it is a case of black and brown people. We've all come into the UK. Every single person who's an immigrant, descendant of immigrants, has come in as working class. And so we've all been in the same system. We've been all in the same education. We've all had to now build ourselves up. But white working class people haven't been able to do that because of the entitlement and because it's literally their story. It's not our story. Our DNA is not tied to the Anglo-Saxon. It's not tied to that. So we're able to escape it a lot easier. And that's why we're seeing a lot of this Neanderthal crash out, because they're waking up and seeing black and brown people are excelling. They're doing way better than us. And we were told, they say, we were told that black and brown people are stupid and they don't know anything and they ain't got no money. And it's like, well, actually, we have.
I've got to shoot, so I've got to get my lad off to school, Foxy. Thanks for having me on.
Yes.
Great topics. Farewell. Thank you.
Thank you, Drew. Take care. Bye. Right, we've got now Comrade Kalgar. I can't see the rest of your name. Comrade, are you there?
How's it going?
Yes.
Can you hear me okay?
Oh, it's going well. How are things with you?
Going pretty good. I'm coming to you from Canada across the pond, so
Hi
good
from
morning.
Canada. Hi to Canada. Hi. So which prop would you like to discuss, please?
I guess it kind of is a bit of a tie-in with the black and brown unity being key to the better world bit, with a bit more of a focus on the indigenous side of things. One of the reoccurring things that happens, especially over here, and as a legacy of the British Empire, is the way that indigenous cultures were kind of villainized, right? And the way that their teachings were villainized and whatnot and criminalized to those degrees. And things that you see kind of pulling from the colonial playbook. But then now we're literally having to go back and revisit that. Like when we take indigenous, like Turtle Island teachings and apply it to things like agriculture and water management and whatnot, it's working really well. And it's like, oh, wow, it's almost like the people who were paying attention to the land and nature and building community knew what they were doing. Strange.
Very strange.
And it ties into a bit of a I had a train of thought there with like the way it sorry, kind of tying into with the way that you see like black and brown people excelling in situations where you've got, your average, air quotes, white family be like, oh, well, I can't for XYZ reason. Like you're saying, I think a lot of it does have to do with people being able to look at the situation with an external lens and having that, well, because I'm not in it, I'm not buying into that indoctrination in the same way, right? It's not like, oh,
yes,
I am from this poor town, therefore I am poor, I cannot succeed. And as much as it is annoying to say so, those like business bro books where they talk about, oh, poverty's a mindset, there's like a small tiny nugget of truth to that. Like, are they onto something? Well, they're lying, they're deceiving you, but they're starting with that nugget of truth. And that's kind of really what's propelling those aspects of it. And I think that, much to their credit, black and brown communities are looking at that and going, you, sir, you're full of BS, but I am not bound to this poverty.
Yeah. That's definitely a story for my family and for my lineage and for the black and brown people that I see around. Of course, African people of Caribbean descent, Indian descent, Asian descent, that part of the world, Bangladeshi. We in our history had so much abundance in our land. So much abundance in our lands, and it was never to do with things like greed as well. People used to trade and they used to share. It was a lot more about what English people were very afraid of: socialism and communism. It was more like that.
Not socialism and communism.
I know. It was like that. So when we lost all of that, it was like, okay, how do we build ourselves up again? And we've been very, very, very focused on what we can do to actually build ourselves up again in a new world, which is a capitalist world, which again was what? Created by white Western Europeans, these colonizers. So trying to adjust your mindset to go from somewhere and being part of a people that were heavily abundant to having nothing because it was stolen, to then try and build again, is never going to be the easiest way. It's never going to be the easiest, especially when there are things like hierarchy still built into these societies. So I talk about this quite a lot. I talk about the racial hierarchy that was built in by these white Western European countries. So they made sure that the Africans and Aboriginals were at the bottom and that the whitest of white people at the top, such as the English, are at the top. And of course, it's going to be the same through into Canada, to the United States. Of course, the same is in Australia, right? So anywhere where the colonizers went, where there were actual darker skinned indigenous people, they then installed these systems. So then when we try to create wealth for ourselves, for our family, try and create it generationally in the white Western European world, of course, there's going to be ways that they're going to continue to stop it. And they've always tried to do that. They always tried to continue to stop. And it obviously makes it hard because even when we're trying to do it in our motherland, oh, look around, who's here? They're still there, start trying to do the same thing. So it's really crazy to me that how we are literally victims all of the time now. For the last 500 years, we've been victims and we just talk about it and we try to do the shit. So when white people try to be victims in a system that is actually set up for them and by them, it's very frustrating.
There's a perfect point.
Frustrating.
Sorry. Finish what you're saying first.
No, go on. I finished. Go on.
There's a perfect point on the white people being victims bit on that, using the specifically Canadian reference of Tim Hortons, but think convenience stores, small fast food chains and stuff like that too, where say someone moves to a country and that was a place where they were able to get in, they finally got an opportunity, then they move up in management and now maybe they own a franchise. Well, now they're seeing some of their own people immigrating that next wave. And those people need opportunities. Well, I know how hard it was for me. I don't want them to have it as hard as I had it, so I'm going to hire you. And now the little white guy sitting in his corner being like, this store is full of brown people. And it's like, shut up, Tim. It's because no one else would hire them. Like, what's your problem?
Yeah. They were always called Tim.
Tim or Brad, Sean, with an SH.
Yeah. Yeah, again, and it's like the jealousy that comes through, and it's like, why are you so upset that people are actually having opportunities and they're trying to do things for themselves? It's like, and I've talked about this quite a lot actually in the Anglo-Saxon culture, that jealousy is a very big part of the culture. We also know the insecurity too is there, but it's the jealousy, and it also lives amongst them themselves. So when English people, they are okay if everybody is on the bottom rung of the ladder, right? But as soon as another English person comes up on that ladder, or if they get off the council estate, or if they buy a car, or they own their house, you know, it's just, have you done that? I don't like you anymore. We're all supposed to be wallowing in the shit together. That's literally the idea that they want to happen. It's like, no, we can't afford to live like that. It's like, based on the ancestry of your people, they have said that we have to work hard and we have to have money. Like, we have to do these things. DeWolf says she's wrong. Anglo-Saxon culture isn't a thing. Well, DeWolf, I hate to tell you this, but it actually is. It actually is. Capitalism came from Anglo-Saxon culture. The enslavement of people, transatlantic slave trade, came from Anglo-Saxon culture. Global PDF rings came from Anglo-Saxon culture. The theft and invasion of 171 countries is Anglo-Saxon culture. Nobody else was doing that shit. Anglo-Saxons were doing that shit. Chattel slavery, thank you very much, Hermit Sapir. No, this is what happens. Anglo-Saxon culture is not actually educating yourself and knowing truth in the history. That's Anglo-Saxon culture. Staying ignorant is Anglo-Saxon culture. You introduced chattel slavery, which actually meant that you no longer saw people as human, because slavery goes back to 3,500 BC. Anglo-Saxon boy.
You need to
please don't interrupt. Cherius, you've actually interrupted a few times now, Cherius. Unfortunately, I have to drop you because I have said don't interrupt, and you've done it a few times. So you're dropped now. Chattel slavery is something that you introduced, Anglo-Saxons. You no longer saw people as people. You saw them as property, which meant that you can sell them, you could kill them, you could rape them, you could basically make them into breeders. And you enslaved people for 400 years. You enslaved their children, their children's children for a very, very long time. Very long time. Yeah, exactly, DeWolf. Like I said, every people had slaves. Yes, they did. And others conquered. But nobody did it like the Anglo-Saxons, because you guys were the most Neanderthal. That's it. You took something that already existed in humanity and you turned it barbaric. You turned it nasty. You turned it absolutely disgusting. No, nobody's lying here. DeWolf, you're not willing to see the brutality of what the Anglo-Saxons did. Yes, Asians did it. Yes, Arabs did it. Yes, Africans did it. Give us another group of people that invaded 171 countries and have been part of the group that have killed 500 million people worldwide. That is the white Western European, DeWolf. See what happens with the Neanderthals. They don't want to accept truth in history. There's so much in their tunnel vision, like, I refuse to believe, I refuse to accept, I don't want to hear. And this is why the great replacement theory is here. Comrade, thank you so much for your comments. Really appreciate you. I'm going to move to Kay now.
Heck yeah, have a great rest of your day. Thank you for having me.
I will. And you too. Take care. Bye. Bye. Right, we've got Kay next. Kay, darling, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. How are you doing?
No problem. I am lovely. Thank you, my dear. So which topic do you want to talk about today, Kay?
YT people being such victims. I don't know. I feel like YT victimhood has increased. Like, does anyone else feel like that? And
yeah. There's a reason why I put that up there. So yes.
It has increased. And obviously, like, reform are, just relying on YT victimhood, and they are making them feel like, yeah, they're the ones that have been victims all this time. It's just ridiculous. I was actually having a live, I think yesterday, and a few points were brought up, like with YT boys, YT working class boys being sort of not really achieving much in school. And yeah, they tried to use that as some sort of talking point, and we're like, oh my gosh, look, see, we're victims. And it's just ridiculous. How can they be victims in a system that was set up for them? Like you said, I don't understand that. And it's really a slap in the face, like, to Black and brown people, when they try to pull this whole reverse racism thing. It's ridiculous.
Them playing the race card is embarrassing.
Yes.
They should be embarrassed for themselves. I've seen them in the comment section already. They always do it, and I know it happens to you too, Kay. It happens to any black or brown person that literally talks about history, talks about actually, look, racist now. Kaylee's like, racist!
It's so funny.
It's just ridiculous. It's just so ridiculous. That's all they have to do is just say racist. That's all they can scream, racist. And they just look ridiculous. Like, yeah, exactly. Right on cue. Hayley is here right on cue as we're talking about this. She's screaming that we're all being racist by talking truthfully about what's happening in the culture. And you're right, it has increased. And you picked up on those perfect points because they want white people to be such victims, because they're so keen for the civil war, right? They're so keen to have less people on the island of misery by targeting people who, of course, Muslim, brown people, black people, lesbian, gay people, trans people, disabled people, basically anyone who is not a straight, rich, well, even we know that these people as well, the 1%, are not openly willing to be as homosexual as we know they are as well. They just want to protect anybody who's like a 1% rich white man. So anyone outside of that can be manipulated, and it's up to people to use their intelligence not to be manipulated.
Absolutely, yes. And it is. It seems like a lot of people aren't using their intelligence, which is disappointing. A lot of people are falling for the tricks. And yeah, I just wish people would, really get clued up. And I wish we wouldn't be gaslit when we speak on certain things. No, we're not being racist. No, we're not trying to make you feel bad for being whitey. I think I heard someone say that the other day, like, oh, I don't feel proud to be whitey anymore. It's just ridiculous. Like, we're not trying to make you feel bad for being whitey when we speak on the truth, when we speak on things that are happening, right? These things need to be spoken on. These things need to, be voiced, and people's voices need to be heard. And if you just can't get over that, if that makes you feel uncomfortable, if that makes you feel any particular sort of way, well, too bad. Yeah. We need to speak up on these things, and we refuse to be gaslit.
Yeah. On that point, someone did say, I'm white and proud. You don't like it. The problem is with you and not me. No one said anything about white being a bad thing. Nobody said that white people should feel bad. It's your own guilt. That's the thing. Like, what Kay is talking about is literally about your own guilt. You have decided that you don't want to feel proud. But also, the problem is with whiteness is because as part of whiteness, they've made you think that you need to be proud to be white, because you've been told that white is better. That's why you have phrases like white pride and white power. You've had these phrases built into your culture. Exactly. I'm white and proud because of white narcissism and because of the colonization. That is because your group of people have been the most barbaric people on this planet. And so you've had to tell yourselves or convince yourselves that your being is okay. That's why you've had to be proud to be barbarians, proud to be these genocidal maniacs. Like, you've had to be proud to be that. If you think you're proud to be white, okay, that's what you're literally standing up for. Because when we talk about black power, it's because we've needed to get our power back as people. Our black power has nothing to do with vilifying other communities of people. White power is only functioning when it actually harms, steals, and really, really vilifies other groups of people. That's what white power symbolizes. It is the degradation of other peoples. That's what white power is, and that's what white pride is. That's what it is. So, this is literally your thing. If you stand up for that, okay, that's literally your choice. But the karma is here for a lot of people. It's literally been delivered. The karma is here. Kay, have you got any more points you want to add? And then I'm going to move to Nate.
That is it. Thank you, Fox, for letting me speak.
Thank you, my sister. Always enjoyed to hear from you. Bye. Bye. Okay, we got Nate next, please. Nate, how are you?
Good morning, Miss Fox.
Hello, darling. How are you?
I'm fine and dandy.
Good. Which topic would you like to discuss, my dear?
So I would like to speak about two topics.
Okay.
And that is white people being such snowflake victims. and the other one is about their culture.
Yeah.
I'll start off with the victimhood, because earlier on there was a guy who claimed he was from Liverpool, talking about he wants to get revenge for Novak. But hold on, Novak was a Polish guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't like Polish people. So why are you crying? Why are you being a victim for a Polish guy that you don't like? That's why you voted for Brexit.
Yeah.
And to any racist person, you can see my face. I'll happily be your victim. Come and find me. I'll narrow it down for you. I live in Birmingham, West Bromwich to be precise. Yeah? I'll narrow it down for you. Come and find me. I'll happily be your victim. Yeah? Now, it's like they take all of our resources, yeah, but they're not happy with that. Now they want our struggle. Oh, it's brutality. Yes. Brutality. Oh, police brutality. When the police was just incompetent, they didn't brutalize the man. They did not brutalize the man. Yeah. Think of things like smiley culture. Yeah. I'll give you a recent event. The man in Ireland where they had his knee in his neck. That is brutality.
Eve Sakila.
Yeah.
Sakila.
Thank you. I forgot his name.
Sakila.
Yeah. May Eve Sakila rest in peace. Yeah. But they'll probably want to take his struggle as well and dig him up and be like, no, we want that. We want that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to go on to the next thing, which is their culture. Yeah. Yous lot are disgusting. I was watching the news the other day. You can see it on TikTok as well. Yeah. A man got a group of friends to drug his wife and grape her. You disgusting Neanderthals. Disgusting. But you're not protesting about that though, are you? You're not causing a ruckus about that, are you? What about the little boy? Yeah, the little boy.
Baby Preston.
Baby that Preston was raped and murdered. Sorry, and unalived by 2 white men. Where is the outrage for that? Yeah, there's no outrage for that. You're just disgusting people, man. And then you go across the pond to places like Thailand and even places like Africa. Yeah, and then what do? You go and get the liquor pitney them. You go and get liquor pitney them. You nasty set up bomber wall or not. And then you want to say we're nasty and we're the grapers. Come on, make it make sense.
It's so nasty, and that's why I put the prompt there: white culture being war, schmeck tourism, and paedophilia. I've talked about my personal experiences. I went to the Gambia. Was it probably 10 years ago, 15 years ago? Can't remember when. But when you go there and you literally see all the white men and all the white women tapping up the younger black men, black women, and you're like, this is disgusting. This is disgusting. It's disgusting. Like you literally see they're old. I even reposted a video because someone was filming it, right? Of course, in Thailand, we know what's happened. But you literally will see the bars now, all the old white men sitting on the front because you know they're after the lady boy and then they're over after the young boy as well.
Yeah, they're nasty, man. They're nasty.
They do it because they know they can't get away with that shit in England, so they go abroad and do it. They haven't changed their mindset as people. They haven't changed the culture. They've just exported it, and that's exactly what they keep doing. Is they just keep exporting their stuff all of the time. They don't change. I got a video on my other account, right, talking about the grooming gangs and the PDF rings being mostly white. We're aware that they're mostly white, but white men, the way that they defend it as if they are the PDFs themselves, right? So it's like, hold on a minute, we're talking about white men being the PDFs, and they're like, no. Look over there at the other grooming gangs. Look at the Pakistanis. Have you seen what's going on in Nigeria? Like, we know that stuff is going on in Nigeria. We're talking about what happens in the country that a lot of us, I mean, of course, I'm from there. We live in, so we have to talk about those things. Why are you trying to distract us from talking about these things? No, exactly. That's the distraction, because you want us to look at other things. No, we're talking about this subject because you have not been able to be held accountable for the stuff that you do. You have distracted us. We're talking about it now, and there's nowhere to hide. Some guy replied to my video. Well, actually, it was a comment on my video. Someone else was saying it, and he was like, "Well, it's not in part of white culture." And of course, I'd said, "What about this? I found a link. What about this? What about this? What about this?" And his reply was, "I don't click links."
Yeah,
so you see how much
stupid.
they don't. Yeah, they don't want to actually, see anything. They don't
They
want
don't
to
want
hear
to
it. They
educate
don't want
themselves
to.
because it's a thing where I feel like these guys, their highlight of their history to feel proud is, yeah, we beat the Germans, World War II. You don't know anything past World War II. Yeah, and anything that you do know past World War II is what's been regurgitated to you. Oh, Africans have sold each other, and that is why we were here in slavery. Like, huh? Like, do you actually understand economics? Because
No, they
or better
don't.
yet, do you actually understand how slavery actually became a thing? Yeah, because if for those white people that don't know, I'll educate you. Since Roman times, yeah, like how people became slaves, yeah, was through prisoners of war. Yeah, when the first what would happen, yeah,
Goes back 1 minute, just goes back further than that,
No, it goes further
3,500
back.
BC. Yeah, 3,500 BC. It was when the earliest records can be traced back to in Mesopotamia, which is Iraq. But yes, you're right. Carry on.
No,
Nate.
but
Just wanted- right back.
they won't be able to go further back than that, like because that's another the thing for them. Why I'm saying the Romans is because they're supposedly whitey.
White,
yeah. So
yeah.
so they'll relate to that, innit? Yeah,
Yeah.
like so. Well, how it happened, yeah, is that they would, if you're in debt, yeah, you will become a slave for a certain amount of time. Yeah. If you was a prisoner of war, yeah, the first what would happen would be the warrior class would be taken. Yeah. And then they would either become gladiators or they would become slaves. Yeah. Then after the warrior class is gone, then they would move in onto the population and then assimilate them into their slavery. Yeah. Now, if you move fast forward to when the Moors got kicked out of Europe, yeah, what did you do? You tried to sign a fake treaty and say, oh, we won't enslave you, but what you need to do is to stay out of the Iberian Peninsula. But then what happened? You took the same Portuguese slaves to Brazil, innit? Better yet, not the Portuguese slaves. You took the Portuguese people, because they weren't slaves, to Brazil. Yeah? And then what did you do after that? You said, you know what? Let's get these black fuckers. Yeah? Let's get all of them. Yeah, because we don't want them back here. Let's get all of them, yeah, and just get them into slavery. So then, what did you do? You went into Africa. You fooled the kings and be like, "Oh yes, we'll take your prisoners and we'll give you money for them." Yeah, because that is what happened, innit? Yeah, because as I said to you, slavery was prisoners of war. Yeah, so that's what happened. And then when we actually cottoned on to what you was doing, we started to fight back.
Fight back. We did revolutions. Yeah,
There was
everywhere.
revolts. Yeah,
Everywhere.
in the motherland
Everywhere.
of Africa and also in the Caribbean. Yeah.
Yes.
And let me tell you this, Mr. Racist White people. F around and find out, because you made some romanticized movie called 300, and you specifically said that it was 300 Spartans that took on the Persian army. Yeah, when no, it wasn't that. It was 300 Spartans. Then it was the rest of the Greek nations. So really and truthfully, it weren't just 300 Spartans. But I'll give you a real 300 story, which was 300 Maroons that went up against 1,500 British soldiers and 5,000 regular militia volunteers. Yeah, and you couldn't hold us in it. We had to give up. Yeah, simply because we didn't want to all unalive. Yeah, but all 300 of us were still alive, innit? You couldn't hold us. Yeah, go and do your research on that. The Second Maroon War. Yeah, so F around and find out if you think that you're going to come for us. Yeah, because we're ready. Yeah, a small, minute number of us will unalive your clot. So F around and find out. And I'm ready for it. As I said, yeah, you can see, you can find me. You can find me in West Bromwich and Tipton. Yeah, I'm a Londoner living in the Midlands. You can find me in West Bromwich and Tipton. Yeah, and just for proof, how many officers does it take to hold down one black man?
Honestly,
One of me is worth 5 of you. So F around and find out. Come find me. Anyway, that's all I've got to say.
Thank you, Nate. That's appreciated. So, yeah, I think it's really interesting talking about the FAFO. Of course, we've mentioned it, and it came up when it came to do with the Henry Novak case, that he was the person who was saying, "Come on, big man, come on, big man, come on, come on," and he did. He fucked around and found out. You know, black and brown people, we're very aware of the phrase. We're very, like, don't start none and won't be none. We're very aware in our communities. Don't pick a fight with somebody unless you're willing to actually deal with the consequences of what that is. Like, just don't do it. Just don't do it. But of course, white people in their entitlement.
Sister. This user, whatever his name is,
don't say sorry.
Nate, you don't need weapons.
Nate, don't say sorry to cut me, then cut me. That means you're not sorry. I already
sorry.
told you off before about this, Nate. Let me finish. And then you can do your bit, Nate. Right. So, yeah, English people, white people in their entitlement, they always think that they can go around bullying people and saying stuff to people without there being any consequences. Like, all of this culture war that the English people want to have, or where the government actually wants the English people to have, they're not going to realize that it is literally going to be on. It's going to be on because you got people like Nate. You literally have people like Nate, and black and brown men, they stand up for themselves. They stand up for their community. White people, you don't stand up for your community in the same way. You really don't. Look now, you got that person who had that big "Save Our Women and Children" poster. What is he? He's been found guilty of having pictures of children on his computer. The "Save Our Women and Children," raising the colours, man.
Dusty.
Own children, raise the colours. Pictures of children on his laptop. You think these people are going to protect you? It is exactly what we're talking about. White culture being washed, mextrism and paedophilia. As long as you can all do these things to the kids, it doesn't matter. You lot aren't ready for the consequences of your own actions and behaviour. They're not ready. They're not ready. Nate, what is it that you want to say? And make sure you're careful what you say, because otherwise you will get, banned or suspended or something, Nate.
Yes, sorry.
Say?
No, because there was somebody saying, "Oh, but you need weapons. You need weapons." I'm telling you now,
No.
Like, if you come and buck me, I'll be hand to hand with you. I don't need no weapons. Yeah. Like, as I said,
Okay, Nate, I'm just going to protect you. I'm just going to protect you, Nate, at this moment, because if you start inciting this kind of stuff, it's not going to go well for you. But Nate has made it very clear. He ready. Right, thank you so much, Nate. Thank you, brother. And hopefully we'll see you on Saturday for the Black conversation, Nate, because it's always a joy to have you there. So hopefully we'll see you again on Saturday. Yes. All right. Thank you, Nate. Thank you. Till next time. Thank you. Right. Okay. Now we've got my dear Mystical. Mystical, how are you?
Good morning.
Hi, you lovely. Hello, darling. How are you? Okay?
Yeah, I'm doing good. It's going to be 39 degrees today, and I don't like that.
I always forget. Are you in the UK now, or are you in the US? Where are you?
No, I'm in Portugal.
You're in Portugal. Oh, lovely. I didn't know you was in Portugal. Well, this, like we said, the colonizers' karma is coming over Western Europe, and anyone who was involved in any kind of nonsense, as we know, the Portuguese were heavily involved in that. But the cool thing I like about Portugal, especially Lisbon, is so many black people. Like, I love it. I love seeing all the black people there. It's like beautiful. But yes, which topic would you like to discuss today, my dear?
Which wouldn't I? Let's go with English people don't understand English, because why don't y'all speak your own language? What is with these white people not speaking their own language at an actual eloquent level? What is going on? Why do I speak these languages better than you? This is ridiculous.
Even people that've got like English as their third or fourth language.
This is my fourth language.
They're still speaking it. Fourth language. Yeah, that's what I mean. Speaking it, spelling it, understanding it better. And English people are still like, what the fuck? Like, honestly, what the fuck?
You only speak one and you don't speak it fully? What is going on?
It's a mess, man. It's a mess. It's a mess. It's a mess. You say one thing to them and they say, well, did you mean to say? No, I said what I said.
Right.
I
And I
literally
spelled it
said what I
correctly.
said. Yeah, exactly that too. Exactly. It was spelled with the right letters in the right order. And it was literally like, how are you confused? How are you confused? You learnt this language from the day you were born. Your parents started talking to you. Maybe, do you know what? Maybe it's the baby speak. It's the goo goo gaga. It's the this stuff. If you're not talking to your children, maybe this is it. If you're not talking to your children properly, like for example, you see some people talk to their dogs like babies. I talk to my dogs like they're humans, and my dogs are freaking clever. They know and understand everything that I'm saying. So I think if they're like, "Oh, you need this a baby," you're not understanding. And I think this is why we're having more conscious babies. If you've seen it, conscious babies are looking at their parents like, what the fuck are you saying to me? Like, what is this nonsense? Like, literally, I want you to talk to me grown up like I'm an adult in fully formed sentences. Maybe that's it too. Maybe that's it.
That is a good point. Because, like, I'm not even like... I also don't do baby talk with my dog. My dog understands commands in different languages.
Yeah.
My dog knows different languages before y'all do. Like, what is happening?
Same. Exactly. I think that's what it is. It's like, you know, the early years in people, that is the early stages of cognitive development, right? And so I think if you mess that up by not actually speaking to them correctly, it might just become their imprint. Yeah.
Because they just don't catch up, because now we go back to school, right? The school system is absolutely effed anywhere you are. I don't care which country you live in. It's not good. Like the reading comprehension is going down on purpose so that we don't think about all of the terrible things that are happening on the planet, and so we also don't have the capacity to understand.
But in the continent, though, in Africa, in the continent, and through to Asia, their reading levels are higher. Like average reading age in the UK is only 9 to 11. And we had this conversation. I don't think Priya is here, but we were talking about basically how she was going to the Caribbean. She's Indo-Caribbean. And she was saying that her 5-year-old cousin was doing geometry, and she was only starting to do that at 12 or 13. Yeah, honestly. And even the country I live in now, I would talk to kids sometimes. Oh, what is it that you're learning at school? And even my cousins back in Nigeria, what are you learning? And I'm like, bloody hell, like you're learning way more stuff than I ever learned. And this is the thing, like if you grow up in Western Europe or even in UK system, you have to self-educate. It is very important that people self-educate. Relying on these education systems, like we've already said during this conversation, is that they obviously want to dumb us down. We're quite aware that they're trying to dumb us down. So if you're taking it upon yourself not to educate yourself further, you only got yourself to blame. You only have yourself to blame, because life is meant to be for learning. Like this is literally a school we're in the school of life. If you're deciding that nothing around you is going to be a teacher, and you think that you're fully qualified on this life, right, regardless of how many years that we get on this planet, you think you know everything, the universe will come and humble you. The universe will come they come and humble you and say, actually, you didn't know anything. You didn't know enough.
Don't say that. The universe might hear you and forget and remember that it needs to come get me again. But just to like preference when I say preface. See how I corrected myself, because words mean different things, and I know that.
Right.
But when I say like I don't care which country you're in, your school system is bad, it is because it is built on the YT school system and their what is the word? Their standards, I guess, for what is good and what needs to be taught. So that is it. But I know that we excel because
because we were born to.
Yeah,
we were born to. Thank you so much. Do you say there was another prompt you wanted to discuss, or is that's it? Is it another one?
Yeah, one more. White people being such victims, because why don't y'all know white privilege exists? Because then you start crying, oh, but I'm poor. Okay, but I'm poor and black. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Like, white people they are victims of themselves, and that is it. But y'all don't want to talk about that. Y'all want to pretend like you get victimized by other people that are not white, which is not possible, which is a part of that white privilege. right? If you want to claim the victim status, I'm not gonna fight you, but use that victim status to fight the white people that are oppressing you. Go do that. Right? Because we all suffer under capitalism, patriarchy, white supremacy. Absolutely. So technically we are all victims, but we can't fuck with y'all. So go fuck with the people that are fucking with y'all and leave us alone. So we get somewhere. That would be preferable. And that's where I'll end.
Exactly. Yeah, good. Exactly. Excellent points. It's like, yes, white people have been victims to a certain extent. And I talk about this a lot, Industrial Revolution, how that kind of started and made it worse for the Anglo-Saxon and for Celtic people in the country, right? But you're supposed to be fighting your government. That's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be fighting the 1%. So you would be victims based on the fact that you've had your monies taken away from you, land taken away from you, like all of those things. So go talk to your government about it. Go and talk to your government about it. Go and do that. Why are you trying to say, oh, black and brown people are the problem and black people are racist and brown people are racist? Like, what the fuck? You're all wrong. That is so wrong. It is so wrong. And it's very pathetic, really, that your government has literally just told you to say, oh, well, you know what, just say that black and brown people are the problem. And because you are so submissive, you're just going along with that, going, okay, then. Okay, we listen to you, governor. My governor said, master said this, and I believe them because they told me that. So then I turn around and say, they told me to tell you that you're racist people now. That's literally what you sound like, English people. That's literally what you sound like. You don't have your own ability to have your own thinking skills. Critical thinking skills are devoid. That's exactly what's happened.
Sorry. And you're proving it in the chat. You are all proving it. Sam, I don't know. Some of y'all should not have profile pictures, but I digress. You were saying, right, the quote unquote civil WAR. It is not a civil WAR in Sudan. Also, who is funding these people? Right? Oh, the UAE. And who is funding them? Oh, the West. Because it's always the West. It's always y'all.
It's always.
Any WAR, it is always you people. Because let's be real. Let's remember that the West has no resources. We have no natural resources in the West, which is why we take them from literally everywhere else.
Yes.
That's
exactly.
why we keep, I say we because I'm in the West, but making these wars.
Stop saying we, it's them. It's
I'm
us.
not out yet.
It's only us by proxy. By proxy. We just
yes.
don't attach it. Yeah, don't attach it to this. I still pay my taxes in Britain and I freaking hate it. I still pay my taxes, but I'm still not responsible. It's not my responsibility. Because you know what? No. I do talk to my MP. I do challenge my MP. When I was back in the UK, I was protesting. And like I've said a few days ago, I said, these bloody protests are so stupid. They're not doing anything. These protests are not doing anything. Where's the actual action? What did I just say? X, A, B, C, D with the leave then.
Pay me.
I just said I don't live in the UK. Listen, boring. You again, because Nigel Farage and all that have told you to get out of our country. That's all you're saying. You can't even think first, and you make assumptions that everyone is still in the country. Get out of a country. I did 5 years ago. And even Mystical doesn't even live in the UK anymore. We don't live in your silly country. Leave then. We did. You literally use that prompt on somebody else, right? Try and use your brain first if you can, and maybe think before you speak, and don't make assumptions about people. Don't do that. Right? Thank you so much, Mystical. I'm going to move to Jamasan now. Have a good day, my dear. Bye, Mystical. Bye. Bye. Right, Jamasan. How are you, Jamasan? Jama. Hello, I've asked you to unmute. Jama, are you there? It's not letting me do an unmute. We're going to move to Taishi in the meantime, please. Taishi, my dear, how are you?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Yeah, I'm well, thank you, on this grey day.
It's grey?
It
It's
is
grey in
great.
the
It's
UK.
great. It'll
No.
either be, obviously boiling hot where you feel like your soul's evaporating, or it will be grey and rainy. There's no happy medium, a bit like the temperament of the indigenous people. But anyway, the reason I wanted to jump on was because I saw your post about the War of the Worlds. And here's the thing, sometimes I get a bit over animated when I'm talking about stuff, and sometimes I think to myself, is anyone hearing me? But when I saw that post, I was like, finally, because a lot of what I've been saying is you've got to understand this mentality, which has been here from Europeans for the longest time, even predating their colonial sort of ambitions, because this is what underpins all of it, essentially. Like some of the stuff I say, and go into that post first, is that if you look at Hollywood films, and I commented this, the alien invaders are always hostile. They always either want to unalive us, eat us, or something like that. And I was like, why were the aliens never nice? And I was like, it's obvious.
I'm just gonna interject so I'm gonna explain for people who haven't seen my video and what you're talking about. So I have a video on my page, guys, about War of the Worlds. H.G. Wells has actually based it on the invasion of the British Empire, seeing the British as being the alien invaders. Right, so for everybody who don't know, that is literally what War of the Worlds is based on. The invasion of the British Empire to the rest of the world. Taishi, please continue.
So I always found this slightly fascinating, because I thought, why could the aliens not just either be passive or even nice, like, hi? Because I thought, these are films, and why do the films always go there? Like, this is immediate mistrust and paranoia, and they're going to do they're coming here to whatever, alien abduction and what have you. And it's like, well, it's obvious, because it's the people that are the descendants of the colonizers are making these films. And it's literally in their culture to demonize the other. And of course, when you want to depict an aliens, I mean, the only film that I can think of that hasn't is E.T., but even E.T. had elements of it. But most of the alien films, it's always about outsiders, foreigners, illegal aliens, all of that stuff. And that was when I saw that post, I was so happy, right? But there's lots of different things that go on like this that people, I think, miss these nuances, that they need to understand that this is something within the culture. And one of my other favorite things to point out, by the way, is that, before they were called colonizers, they were called explorers and adventurers. And one of my favorite things to point out, because these are moments in my life when I thought, wow, this is some crazy stuff. When you look at the likes of, Mount Everest and probably K2, there are so many unalive bodies strewn over them. And when you look at these bodies, what are they? They're Europeans.
They're all Europeans, yes.
Because even the people who go up there with them, because they're paid to go up there with them, the people that live around that area know better than to go up there, right?
Yeah.
And that's because they know better. It's something about the European, whatever it is, nobody understands what the hell is up with these people, but they are hell bent on being weird. And that's why we used to say back in the day, it's a white people thing. That's what I used to say that, because we all knew what we meant. Like, why you can't just sit still and be normal, like we all were. We were all sat in our lands, and then you came.
White people.
To be explorers, right? And then to actually just take over us. And the hostile aliens you talk about, every accusation is a confession, essentially. But yeah, that's what I wanted to add. I just thought it was hilarious. I've just recently had an online spat with someone who is a revert and is wearing the burqa in their profile picture. Now, the burqa, which most people know as the burqa, is something predominantly in Central Asia. And my grandmother wore one. It's something very synonymous in the region that I come from. And it can be associated with a lot of sadness as well, and it affects me personally because, of what my grandmother went through, right? And I challenged this person why they had that in their profile picture. I said, because this is not a universal Muslim symbol, by the way.
Yeah, it's not.
And they were like, I'm trying to raise awareness about Afghanistan. I said, well, it's not for you to do that. You're a revert, respectfully. If you want to raise awareness, actually talk about it. All you're doing is going up on panels, gossiping. And that's up to you, but you're claiming that you're raising awareness. I haven't heard one person question what's the reason you've got that as your profile. Again, this is appropriation. This is this white savior complex. This is all the problematic stuff that happens. And Not for 1 second did they try and hear me or listen to what I was saying. Bear in mind, we had people of color, so-called Muslims, so-called lefties, trying to defend them at one point. This is the stuff they do. And this person doesn't even wear veil, by the way, right? Right? This person does, they can do what they like, right? But don't try and co-opt. This is another form of colonization, which they just can't understand the nuance of, right?
Yeah.
And anyway, that's what I wanted to say. It's just getting frustrating, but I do find them amusing, you know, and I just really hope they get well soon, honestly, as a collective.
I don't think they will, but I'm going to go back to the Hollywood movies part. I think what was really interesting is from a young age myself, I kind of could see the messages of colonization through Hollywood. Take, for example, Avatar movie, because that's a key one, right? Avatar movies, Avatar series. However many years ago that first movie came out, it was very obvious about colonization. And so it was really strange to me that people at that time were like, I didn't like that movie, I didn't get it. And I was like, that's literally about the white man going to the black and brown countries and ruining it. Like, it was so obvious. So obvious. And so it made no sense. And it made me even more annoyed, if you guys have seen it, Zoe Saldana, she wants to be called Enye now. She wants to say that she's Spanish now, right? She's got a Spanish surname. Zoe Saldana is now saying, well, it's because the blue people, the what are they called? I've forgotten what they're called. You know, the Avatar people, because they're racist towards the colonizer, the white people. Zoe, you are in that movie. You have literally been part of that movie for many years. And this is the Navi. Thank you so much. This is what you're coming out with now. You came out with that shit. Who told you to say that? Why did you say that? You know that's not right. Were you not even present when you were in these movies? Were you not there mentally, spiritually, physically? Like, what were you doing? It was obvious what that movie was about. So how dare you come out and say that now? How dare you? It's completely disgraceful, especially for people, indigenous people or people who have been oppressed, to watch that movie and say like, right, this feels like you're actually telling our story. And then for her to turn around and say that shit. Like, this is the thing that can piss me off. Really, and that's the reason why I never actually watched the sequel. And I was waiting for all these years to watch it. Like, oh my God, watch it. And I never watched it because of what she said. Bloody idiot fool. Thank you so much, Taishi. Are there any more points that you want to discuss on here before I move to the next person?
No, I just want to thank you for that post. These are really important topics. And I think that you're going to be faced with the knuckle draggers who say things like,
always,
you know, make England great again and go back and all this kind of stuff. But they will never, ever try to understand our point of view, because aggression is literally in their very fibre of their being. But thank you. I'll jump down now. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Taishi. And like Mazzy says, we love Taishi. We love Taishi. Taishi. Taishi does some good work around here on this TikTok land, guys. Like, she's always really fighting for Islam and for women, and you know, she's always got her voice to these subjects. So I'm really glad that she's here, and I'm always glad that I've come across her as well. So thank you. Right, Jama, I did see that you managed to unmute. Are you back now, Jama-san?
Yeah, me always there, you know.
You're here now. Hi. So which subject would you like to talk about today, please? Which prompt?
To be honest, I was away from the phone with the earphone in my ears, so I wasn't actually looking at the screen. But
do you want me to read them out for you? And do you want me to read them out, and I can tell, and you can pick a topic to discuss?
I would rather not to discuss the topic, but I respect everything that you guys are saying, and trust me. You see, like 10 years of my life, I used to speak the way how you guys speak, but I learned how to break through that loop that they left us in. You understand? So this is what I do now.
Do you want to explain a little bit more about what you mean by that?
I teach my people how to get away from, you know, the separation that they create for us. Because I heard what you're saying, and you everything that you said, you're so perfect.
Sorry, 1 minute, Jama-san, I can't hear this, but apparently you've got background noise.
No, not me. It's not me.
Have you got?
It's not me.
Yeah. I can't hear anything in the background, guys. Can we just have a chat check, please? Because I can't hear anything. Jama says he doesn't have anything, but someone else said that there's some background noise because I can't hear anything. Emma says they can't hear anything. Mazzy can't come. Yeah, so it must be, everyone can hear clear, so it must be somebody. Flux, by the way, good to see you. I don't know if you saw my reply, Flux. I said thank you so much for your comments on my page, and thank you for being here, Flux. Really good to see you. Thank you. Yeah, everything's cool. All right, thank you so much. Jama, do you want to continue, please? Yeah.
So I was saying, based upon the stuff that you speak about, and my brother Nate was here earlier, because I'm familiar with that brother there. So you see, I don't want to have to repeat what you said, but you're so perfect. You're right. He's right as well. With these Anglo-Saxon guys going around everywhere and do what they does.
Yeah.
You get me? So
they don't know what their culture is. They're so detached from what their culture is, and we've experienced their culture. So we are very qualified to talk about what their culture is. Very qualified to hold up the mirror and tell them exactly what it is that they do.
So what I would love to say, for my people, them. I don't know my ancestors wearing wraps on our head. We never wrap our head up. So so when we stop living like the man that wrap his head up, then we can start be together again, unite together. And that's what holding us back. Because they can't really hold us back.
That's what I said up here. Black and brown unity is the key to a better world. It is what I believe, because I remember what the world was like. Not remember. Well, part of me was there ancestrally.
And the right word you use, my sister. Right word you use.
I believe that.
So 1 minute, King K music. Please do wait your turn. Everybody else is waiting. We take it one at a time, and I will come to you. We've got quite a few people beforehand, though, so please don't unmute, because otherwise I will have to drop you from the panel, please. So thank you so much, Jama-san. Really appreciate that. I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you follow Nate. Nate is really cool. I like Nate.
I'm in London to here. All we live in the UK. We live in London.
Yeah, I've left the UK. I left 5 years ago. I had to get out of that low vibration racism.
Why you sound like you're there written same way how you sound. Yes. But anyway, me ready anytime when I'm ready. Yeah, because you see things when me talk, if me start talking, no, TikTok I go flag your page and kick me out. Me can't chat.
I'm gonna kick you out. I'm gonna kick you out now. All right, thank you, Jama-san. It was nice to speak to you.
Make sure you follow me back here.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Yes, I will.
Big up everybody, boy. Yeah. Big up on the service.
Bye. Bye, Gemma. Bye. Okay, now we got Milton next, please. Milton, how are you?
My mom, I give thanks Milton. Every day.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Have we spoken before? I feel like you're familiar to me. Have we spoken before? I feel so.
Maybe. I don't remember everybody I speak to because TikTok
I recognise your face.
Yeah, that's how I really look. And my name is Milton McGowan. That's who I am. I never come on social media to reinvent myself. My life is documented in the UK.
Okay.
By the
Thank
most
you.
important
Which prompt would you like to discuss, Milton?
The only prompt that overrules everything else is mediocre, frivolous pursuits. But that one day that says black and brown unity, even the white man's waiting for that. Those that are decent. Because they're not all demons. They're not all demons. And I want to ask a question, which may be a bit off. In terms of men and women, would you agree that women came first?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so men only come like as a side order because the gene had to be spread around the world. Yeah, I said it. Because if you look at how
because everybody came from the everybody came from the female chromosome.
Are treated around the world. Even all right then, you take a black man who's born in his own culture. Him and his women, right, have a certain relationship in each culture around the world. But once he steps out of that culture, he's vilified. Not just by white people, but by black people too. But what kinds of black people you see? Because there's a difference. There are black people that are not isolated cognitively, socially, economically. And economics is important because that's what gives you the ability to socialize yourself. Yes? Would you agree? Travel.
Yeah,
Even
I
in your
believe so.
own.
It's in, I don't know if you've seen any statistics recently, but I think
I
it's like
love
77, yeah, 77% of solo travelers these days are women. So men are not finding their own freedom or identity
All right,
throughout the
stop
world.
there.
Me
May I just-
personally, one minute, Milton, if I can also respond to you. So I've traveled to 56 or 57 countries, and I found myself incredibly liberated and more in my independence as a black woman to be able to
You
do that.
mean
So I think
autonomous.
it's a really, yes,
You mean
autonomy, exactly.
autonomous.
Yes, and I agree.
So what
I
you're
think it's
admitting is
definitely
that black
important.
men-
Can I
black
finish,
men-
Milton, because I'm not also interrupting you, because I'm agreeing.
Yeah,
You
but
asked me the
sis,
question,
I'm
do I...
62,
Milton,
I'm 62, yeah.
age is irrelevant, Milton. You asked me a question, okay? You said, do I agree? Do I think?
But you let a
So now
young
I'm
man
responding.
talk. You let a young man talk uninterrupted, right? About
Listen, I
battles.
have to, Milton, I have to mute you for a second because you asked me a question, Milton. Guys in the chat, did you hear Milton ask me a question? Did you hear him ask me a question? Did he say, do you think or do you agree? Right? Yes, Milton asked me a question. So he obviously doesn't want me to respond. Milton, everybody can hear you asking me, so I'm giving you the reason. I'm answering your question for you, because if you want to come up here having a monologue, this is not the space for you. Don't ask me a question and not expect me to answer. Like I've just said, autonomy, and like I agree with you, it's very, very important, yes. And it is also important for black men, like you've brought up, to do the same thing, to find themselves as freedom. I talk a lot actually about black people being able to travel and actually getting themselves out of the mindset of thinking that the world dislikes black people, because trust me, the world loves black people. I've seen it. I talk about my dad's experience, who was older than you, Milton. He's 74. He's also traveled the world and had his experiences and been like, yeah, everybody loves me. Like, yeah, Dad, you see this? Because what Western propaganda did was try to tell us that we're all hated. We are not. We are loved. We are envied. We are copied. We are literally on. Everybody want to look. Please be my friend. Please come and do this, because that's the reality of life. That is the reality when you actually go out and see it. So, Milton, what would you like to add as well, or respond to anything that I've just said? Because I said I agree with you.
Thank you so much. I know you agree because you know where I'm going with this, and you know that I didn't complete university like you did. You see, I've always had issues with scholars, and scholars, like anyone that was able to go uni, receive their reading list and what they need to get their accreditation, right? But then read between the lines, because no one gets that library pass that gives you or national access to everything they're trying to hide from the poor working class man who's kept below a certain gross income that doesn't allow him to self-educate, doesn't allow him to break away from the institutions that the powers have built to indoctrinate us, assimilate us. They control everything. But I knew this at age 5 when my mother brought me to church and I saw a picture of a white Jesus Christ. I knew intuitively, he don't look like my papa, he don't look like my mama. So how is it? The church is black people. So I knew then I was different. Within our own culture, we are different. So let's deal with this in-house sleight of hand, subterfuge, trickery.
Have you seen, Milton, on your...
The white man to me is mediocre. All he can do is bag me up. And he only can do that with a gang. Because on one-to-one, I will, hey, that young man was a young man. I'm 62. Does it sound like I've mellowed with old age? Or does it sound like I'm done? I'm so angry listening to you lot repeat the same crap decade after decade. It's like waiting for England to win the World Cup.
It's never going to happen.
It ain't gonna happen unless they introduce some colour. Yes, I said it. Who want to challenge me? Cause I saw some comments. A lot of you lot in the comments. I just blocked you immediately. Why? I don't need you. You're still wondering who you are. I know myself.
Milton, to pick up on your point about the white Jesus, do you see? Because I see on my TikTok lives, people back in the motherland still holding up the white Jesus and still trying to get coins.
I cry for them.
So do
cry
I.
for them because some of them are my brother and sisters. Not all of them though.
Yeah.
Don't get it
Yeah.
twisted. Because when you spoke about Rome, just remember there's Greco-Rome. When you speak about Afghanistan, just remember there was people coming from that region into Africa before the white man. Do you not know this? And now we're at the haplogroup level. I don't know what's going to happen because there's people on social media like, for instance, Mosiah Abantu. Now, I like Mosiah Abantu. Have you ever heard of him?
No, but I'm just going to, just because of the white Jesus thing, I want us to stick on that topic for a little bit now, the white Jesus.
Okay, then go ahead.
Yeah, so, and I want people to also be very aware of the TikTok algorithms. I myself have found myself going to where I see our African brothers and sisters and saying, why, I'm like saying, do you know who that person in the picture is? Like, who is that picture you're holding? And some of my comments get muted by TikTok. If I mention white Jesus, like it will get muted. And it is very sad that we are seeing our black and brown brothers and sisters also not wanting to hear or understand what we're saying. Like the brainwashing is very deep. It is very scary to see it. And even I found myself getting blocked or muted by some of our black and brown brothers and sisters because I am literally going to the same people and saying, you got white Jesus there. Who is that? Who is that? Like, who you know, think about it. Do you not think that that person in that, I'm still talking, Milton, please let me finish and then you can continue.
Sorry.
It's like, why are you not thinking in your mind? Like, again, like we're asking for, right, is critical thinking skills. I'm always saying to them, does that look like that Jesus was born in Sweden or somewhere? Like, why are you not seeing it? But then I'm also seeing, which is really good, other people saying the same thing to them. Like, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. That person is not who you think they are. But it is very sad. And this is when you know that a number has been done on our people, that they literally are having to hold on to this for monetarily reasons as well. It's like they literally need money, but you are literally having to go down this bloody route just to get a few coins off of TikTok, and TikTok does not pay that much. Like really,
I'm glad
horrible.
you mentioned TikTok.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned TikTok and not actual terraform of the real world. Because there are people receiving money, and that money is blood money, basically. Yeah, that one person's taking that money, cost the life of say 4,000 people in say the Congo. Yeah, some really underdeveloped places that don't even have connection, like media-wise, or just basic radio connections. Yeah, I forgot the word.
It's not even
use.
underdeveloped though. That's just like how the world was.
For some regions, right, they have certain infrastructure, but they isolate other regions of their own community for resources purposes because they can continue to mine stuff illegally without licenses, without paying, and people are becoming millionaires overnight in Africa on the ground. You need to overstand this, and then that money passes through. Listen, the cartels are targeting Africa now, right? And that's not my business. My business is the youth then. That's our most precious resource, in my opinion. We determine what value is. We, human beings, the adults. But the adults have been so usurped because of creature comforts and not autonomy, not sovereignty. For example, many people took that vaccine. Now that's the same as sovereignty to me because it writes a string protein in your body, a patented human technology. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? You have a unique signature given to you by your mother and father, which makes you unique. Because no parent should try and mold their offspring in their own image. They should free you to become what you're supposed to become. But when you take scientific technology that rewrites your genetics, right? That's a sovereignty issue. And then if you try and claim your land in the future through diplomacy and not war, and if there is a war, no business about no war enough, because you see if they use any nuclear or germ warfare, it seems to me that we recover quicker than anyone else.
Yes,
I know this.
That's true. That's true.
I know this because I went through something in 2019. I contacted the radios. I contacted Kwaku, a Pan-African. And I told him they just discharged me from hospital saying that I got an unknown virus. I nearly died. A young lady had to move me out of my yard and look after me in her home with her picnic then, right? For at least 3 months. And all that, she kept on bringing me back to different hospitals and they kept discharging me. By March, this was December 2019. By March the 22nd, 2020, the BBC declares the novel SARS virus. So, sis, I don't want to tell you how many corporate teams I'm battling now, in and outside the NHS. Because I'm a trained paralegal. But I went prison at 15. I didn't even go uni until my 40s because I've been angry all my life. But you see that anger? That anger determined what I read, what I tried to overstand about my pain, not yours. I had to understand what's making me make these choices, like thump over the policeman, draw up on my things. I'm not lying to you.
It comes from
my
somewhere.
life is
You have to
documented in
recognise.
the UK because they document everything in the UK. They don't document everything in Africa. It's we they're afraid of. It's us.
No, they do.
They don't want to build. They don't want to build oversight. That's why you should run away. You shouldn't run away. You got to find yourself some serious man and back them to build oversight and paralegal support for those that need it. That's the most powerful thing we can do now. Is build an institution that's private, that makes the cohort, us, shareholders from cradle to grave. Now, I won't even talk no more than this, because on a feast of me easy, right? You're talking about dropping me a little while ago. Well, drop me now. I've had my say.
I never said that. I never said drop you. I never said that.
Your cohorts of people who want to sit on TikTok and long talk, because that's it meets TikTok's needs, innit? But it's not meeting our needs. So those people there, I've blocked every one of you already that I could find in this life and the next. So I done talk.
Cool. All right. Thank you, Milton.
Thank you so
for
much
that.
for
I
having
appreciate
me.
that.
Thank you.
I think, thank you very much. Yeah, I think it's really good to talk about just a little bit before I move to the next person about the legal systems and how to protect Black and brown people. The justice system is obviously very much not set up for Black and brown people. We're very aware of what two-tier is. We are aware of what two-tier is. If you have children, if you are seeing your future in the UK, these are the industries that you must put your children in. You must put them into the legal system. You must put them into the justice system. I'm not talking about police. I'm talking about lawyers. I'm talking about people who actually in things like, what's the other thing called? Citizens Advice Bureau, things like that, ways that you can actually give legal advice and to guide people in the right way. This is very, 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 very important. Get them into the law, because there's fair enough, right, that you can find yourself arrested or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But once you actually get yourself into the courts, whether you're actually going to be represented, first of all, if you have a decent solicitor, decent lawyer, okay, fine, fair enough. But if you have the barristers and if you have the judge who are actually on your side, that's another thing. I talked in length about the Henry Novak and Vikram Digwa case. I talked in length about this for about a week or so. I had a live that lasted probably about 5 or 6 hours. That case was very much a case of you needed to understand that there needed to be more Black and brown people in that courtroom. The jury was 12 white jurors. The judge was heavily biased as a white guy. In the court, there was shouting of racism towards Vikram Digwa's family. Vikram didn't even have his defense heard in that court. He didn't even get heard. And already they decided that he was going to be guilty, right? Regardless of what he did, they decided that he was going to be guilty. Anything to do with his self-defense claim was thrown out. His claim of racism was thrown out, but there was nobody else there to decide whether it was racist or not. The judge turned around and said that he was a liar. And it's so dangerous to say that towards a Black and brown person. It was ridiculous. Honestly, anyone who actually read that case and actually could be unbiased, you would have seen the same thing as what I saw, which was that case was heavily biased. Vikram Digwa should have been put in prison, which he did, because he pulled out a weapon, which he should not have done. And he made a mistake that day. So he ended up in prison for that reason. Right? No, see, this is the thing. I can't even understand your name, Muddy or something. I can't even see those letters, what they even are spelling. He wasn't a liar. He wasn't. He told his version of events, like anybody is supposed to do in a court. They're supposed to tell their version of events. You can only tell someone is lying if there is another evidence to say that they're lying. Where is there going to be evidence that he didn't have a racist word said to him? Where? There wasn't any evidence to suggest that. So calling someone a liar is wrong. There was no proof to say that he was lying. There's no proof of that. Again, this is what happens. Oh, Mimi, yeah, let me do you real quickly. Exactly, Emma. The judge should be unbiased. And of course, I got a lot of the old racists being like, you're saying this stuff about Henry and his family. Like, if you guys were here from the beginning of this live, we had a Neanderthal screaming at me. You said this about Henry. I said, go find it on my account. Did he come back with the proof? No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He was so angry, this Neanderthal. He didn't come back and show me anything. Didn't come up and say anything. I never said that Henry deserved it once. You said he deserved it. Find me the quote where I said that. Didn't happen. I asked the question based on your logic. But this is why my prompt is English people don't understand English. You say one thing, they hear something completely different that you haven't even said. Honestly, it's nonsense. Right, we've got Mazzy next, please. Mazzy, how are you?
I'm good, yourself?
I am lovely, thank you, my dear. So which topic would you like to talk about today, Mazzy?
White people being the victim.
Mm-hmm.
It's increasing. And like you say, with the Henry Novak, people are saying it's two-tier policing system because the whitey privilege thinks that it is, when it is absolutely not. Now, on the back, you'll have to excuse me, I'm in fibro fog at the minute. I'm in really bad fatigue as part of my disability, and words get stuck.
It's okay. It's okay.
So,
it's okay. Take your time.
Yeah, on the back of what you said, and it still remains in the forefront of my mind about raising Brown and BLK people up further, because we know that you will rise us up, you know, with you, unlike the whitey supremacists. And I've been doing a lot of research. And, you know, I like to go on these debate panels, and the amount of people now, oh yeah, but we invited them into the country in the Windrush generation. Oh, well, I've come back.
So now they accept it. Now they accept that they invited us. Because remember, a few months ago, they were like, oh, we didn't invite you. You didn't get to come in. You just ended up here. Like, so now they accept that they invited us. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, this is part of their racist narrative. But when I come back at them and say, these people that came as part of the Windrush, their ancestors were part of chattel slavery. And they're like, yeah, but we gave them work and everything. And, you know, sort of like, it's like a chant to them. And when you say, yeah, you may have invited them into the country to help rebuild Britain, but these people were actually paying reparations to the slave owners. No, they weren't, because we did this for them, we've done that for them. Again, like the chants. And you think about it, reparations weren't paid until 2015. And the people that came to help rebuild the country were helping pay the reparations through their taxes. And when I say, you know, as part of welcoming the Windrush generation, it should have been thought out better whether these people coming into the country whose ancestors were slaves should not have been paying tax. Yeah. And even the grandchildren sort of like that are now working, they've contributed to paying the whitey slave owners, and they don't like it.
They wouldn't
don't
have
like
been
it.
able
They
to
try and
afford. They wouldn't have been able to afford paying off that debt if they did not include the 16%. I think we're 16% of the country, right? Black and brown people. Is it 16? Whatever the percentage is, I can't remember. Because the British, the white taxpayers would have obviously felt it more in their pockets, right? And they would have been even more disgruntled if they realised that, because they would have said the same thing. Well, we weren't there. Why should we pay it? And obviously it makes them feel better knowing that black and brown people have still paid again for this debt. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I sort of like really go head to head with them, and the amount of research that I've done, and sort of like I've gone back to the beginning of time when people say that, black and brown, BLK and brown people don't belong here. And when you look at before the ice caps melted, how people walked over land because we originate from Africa.
Yeah.
Walked
And,
over
and
lands.
all the lands were together. The lands were
Yes.
together. There was not this separation. We've got
Exactly.
now this continental drift, which they don't seem to remember learning in geography at school.
Yeah. It's like the wonderful Sam that was in the chats earlier. He's a well-known racist and Islamophobe, and he actually said to somebody, it's my country and you don't belong here. So then I just went straight back to the beginning of time, saying that we all come from Africa before the ice caps melted and the lands separated, and that, areas became landlocked and little islands were formed. So historically, England has never been whitey. It's been a wonderful mix of cultures that we all were part of, and it's because we're...
Yeah, in terms of like fighting racists, it's quite simple to fight racists because you can't fight them with knowledge, right? And it's always brilliant. It's brilliant for all of us. A lot of us here, we're very, very clued up now. We're reading, we're understanding, we're communicating. These people don't have the ability to take in any more information. We know that they're done, right? Their brain is already full up with bullshit and propaganda and like crap and stuff. And that's why, and you've seen it many times, Mazzy, I'll just say, go back to Germany. And that's literally it. And the conversation is pretty much done. Like, and when you're absorbing all of this information, Mazzy, it's also equally important to save your energy, because I know you've been around when we've talked about this as well. And I know as white people, especially when you are on the decolonizing journey, it might feel like your responsibility as well to fight other racists. But honestly, it is very important to just remember that the information you're acquiring for yourself is great that you're doing that. But also, like I've said, don't feel like it is also your responsibility to challenge and fight the racists with your knowledge, because they don't respond in that way. Like, to learn the knowledge for yourself, but at the same time, like, humiliating them is also really fun. Like, just remember to also have some fun with it, because it is serious times too. It's serious times. But yeah, but at the same time, if you can laugh, exactly, Hermit Sapien, these are energy drainers, but we know we're taking the piss out of them, we are laughing at them. Like, if you were here the other week, I remember this really funny one. That was it last week or this week? I can't remember. Some bloody idiot came along. He was so stupid. They do the same thing. Oh, Africans live in mud huts. And I'm like, what do you mean? And I showed him my house and everything. Because this guy was like, I got sea view and I got £1,000. And we were all chanting, like, turn on your camera, turn on your camera. Did that boy turn on the camera? No. So he got humiliated, and we were all laughing. We were all laughing. Exactly, Huda. Match their energy. Let them know they ain't superior to no shit, because we know a lot of these racists are resting on what their ancestors done beforehand. And I'll always say to them, well, what did you do? What did you do? And they'll be like, yeah, exactly, you ain't done fuck all. So you still think that black and brown people ain't got nothing, but I'm sitting around in this, and everybody else I know is sitting around in what they got. Well, you got nothing. So always remember to put it back on them. Ask them what they've achieved personally, because they're so hiding. They're hiding. Look at them directly. Look at them in the eye. And then that's when you actually see the racists fall apart, and they always go running away. They always run away. And we laugh at them beforehand.
Yeah, when they say, oh, we need to deport all the illegal immigrants. And then I'll say, well, there's a big boat waiting for all you Scandinavian and Germanic invaders. So you do one first.
Yes.
Go on, go back over there.
Exactly. Tell them to go back to where they come from. And then they're like, oh, no, it doesn't. And then it just ends up being the same thing. If you're not going back to Scandinavia, then we ain't going back from the UK, because you're also not indigenous as well.
Yeah.
Energy match. Show them on the level. Tell them everything that you know. Match them. Because honestly, I do have to try and, tell people here that when they come to panel, if you're arguing with somebody, like when you start to monologue, and I know some of us do here, I'm a host, of course I'm monologuing. There's a reason why I got my platform, so I can monologue as well. But if we're trying to get a certain message, know that a monologue just doesn't work. It doesn't work. So we can get it because we can understand the monologue because we're intellectual enough. We're intelligent enough, to understand the monologue of what people are saying. But these Neanderthals, they ain't got it. So we got to do their ooga booga language as well.
Yeah, I like to offer them crumbs. Yeah. Look, when you say, I'm not racist, I've got a black friend. Oh, sorry, BLK friend. And, and I don't sort of like pick up on that and say that to them. I just offer them crumbs. And then I'll just say, well, yeah, ancestrally, I'm not from this country. My family don't come from this country. And then sort of like keep offering them a bit more crumbs and a bit more crumbs. And then they land, the mask falls off. And then I'll just say, oh, there it is.
Yes, exactly. I'm just going to reply to Johan in the comment section. If you are black, please do come to the black conversation that I have on Saturdays. You said, should we create a Black Wall Street in the UK? Don't ask the question, just do. Don't ask questions. Should we do this? Should we do it? Just do. If it's in your mind, it is for you to do it. Just do. Thank you so much, Mazzy. Thank you for that. Really appreciate you. I'm going to move to the next person now. And I think it's going to be the last panel because my battery is getting low. Mazzy, it was always a joy to speak to you and always a joy to hear from you.
And you too. Have a good day, everybody.
All right. Thank you, Mazzy. Hope you feel better soon as well. Rest up, please, my dear. Right. We got now Mission FM, please.
Good morning.
Mission FM. Hello there. How are you?
I'm not bad. How are you doing?
I'm lovely. Thank you for asking. Which prompt would you like to discuss today?
It's the two of English people not understanding English and white people being such victims. We spoke a couple of weeks ago. I'll see if I can jog your memory. I was the BLK football coach in the Northants area.
Yes, I remember you. Yes. Hopefully you took the advice that I think Mimi was one of them, maybe that was giving you advice.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Well, I thought I'll just come back with you just to bring some lights heart because it's been a very serious conversations and topics and everyone getting heated this morning. So I thought I'd bring a bit of lightheartedness, Jan Crow style of this kind of stuff that's been going on. So, okay. So we've still had no response back. So anybody on the panel, very quickly, I'm a football coach for a youth football team, grassroots level. I've been experiencing a lot of racism and a lot of nasty comments from sidelines and parents throughout the years of doing it. I've gone to relevant people on FA boards trying to get things sorted out and has never had any support or any backup at all on anything. In fact, when I've taken a team off the field for safeguarding issues, I received a £100 fine and a 6 to 7 match ban, which when I appealed, never got appealed over. Anyway, so fast forward, this season we had a parent saying racial remarks and a coach saying racial remarks to me at a game. So we reported it and we're now coming into week 9 and there's been no response back. Okay, so the league, sounds very petty, but you can see where racism is ingrained into the country and how this group that I've reported has now turned it around to be the victims. So I've called them out on everything, had nothing responded back to myself. So now the season's over. We finished 4th in the league, which basically means we're in a promotional spot in Division 2 to go to Division 1, which is excellent for the children. They've redone the league and we are not in Division 1. They've put us in Division 3. The teams that we had problems with, we reported to, which were relegated, as being promoted to different divisions, and the 5 teams that we reported to are all sitting in one division. A friend of ours that was close to the league sources turned around saying that the team that I do, the name is, has been mentioned at meetings and saying how the coach is problematic because I keep on bringing on reports. So they've turned it around that they are the victims. What they've done is now thinking they penalised my team by putting us in a lower division. funny thing about it, the way I'm taking it is that, okay, so you've done that. I know my team is better at not being big-headed. We're just going to go and win that division next year and win the playoffs. And when they start cussing and saying, but, I can say, well, you're the ones that decided to put us in there. Since then, I've tried to start up a Facebook group because within the league I'm in, there are 50 teams and there's only 5 BOK or ethnic coaches in there at all. So I try to put on a Facebook support group just for coaches of, different ethnic backgrounds to come together to get resources, coaching tips, or just other stuff just to help them in general. Something like what Mimi was trying to say about, trying to help out and give back and stuff. The said league has messaged me saying, can you remove the post as we believe that this is bringing the game into disrepute because you're bringing in...
For God's sake.
So, that's where we're at the moment. So they become the victims. What's funny is English people not understanding English. If I, say for instance now, a letter came to you and saying that something has been done on a racial level, okay, they straight away has not looked at what's been said. They've just judged the person who sent the letter and come to their own conclusions. Do you know what I mean? So
I'm just gonna. Sorry, 1 minute. But just because the comment section are giving you some advice on this part, and then we can talk about the problem. But this is my real life friend, by the way, Hannah, in the comment section says, "Can I see what information I can find about this and pass it to me to see if she can help?" And also, and of course, Mimi as well has got some advice about taking it to the press as well. But Hannah, I can't remember where she is at the moment, but she is in education. I think you're still in education, is it, Hannah? So please, if you can private message me actually about some information, and then I can direct it to her, or then maybe I can connect you to, or even actually Hannah, if you just message, or if you do it actually together, because I don't want to be in the middle, because I could slow things down. But Hannah, if you could follow Mission and then send him a message, then of course you guys can connect, and that would be really good. Mimi as well has got some advice there for you. And Mimi, do you want to interject? Yeah, Mimi can give you again some advice like she gave you last time. Mimi.
Morning. Sorry, I didn't want to jump in there, but this is the best thing that could happen to him, really, because.
Yeah.
Oh, Mimi, your signal was dropped. Mimi.
I think I know she was going with that. I think it can be because beforehand, over the years, where I used to get frustrated and angry, and I'm going to say this and I mean this, it was coming on that live that morning and speaking to you, you know what I mean? But so I said, you told me, you re-energized me. So I looked at it and as I said, you know what? They can do what they want because they're Neanderthal dinosaurs. I mean, the committee is 60 plus whitey men in a rural area. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we know that mindset.
Do you know? So, just to put in an equation, where I live, there is 5 BLK families in amongst 3,500 people. So that tells you the ratio.
Yes, Mimi.
I'm so sorry about that. It always happens when I move around in the house. Okay, quickly. Thank you for that. Thanks for the update. This is the best thing that can happen to you because now they have to justify what's happened. And so what you also need to do is you go through every single one of their policies on racism, safeguarding, and you give examples of against their own policy where they've not adhered to that. If someone is shouting racist epithets, and the kids are hearing that, that's a safeguarding issue. So if they don't want to deal with it within the racism realm, we deal with it within a safeguarding issue. And then if they don't want to deal with it in that, we deal with a public order offence. You have to just keep playing them. This is what Fox was just saying. I'm not sure if you were listening earlier about the legal route. You have to make sure that everything you have is documented. We had X amount of points at the end of this season. Can you explain to us why we are now in Division 3 and not been promoted? That's one of the emails. Then another email, you overwhelm them with this is your policy, you're not adhering to that. And then also your local media, some of your parents for the teams will have access and people that they know themselves. So then you start to speak to the sponsors. Are you happy sponsoring a football team that don't adhere to their own racism? Does that go against your own business ethos? You do it that way. That's what the small hats people do. They create a nuisance because they know that it's a death by 1,000 cut, unalivened by 1,000 cuts. So in a way, what they've just done is play straight into your hands. It would have been easier for them to have allowed you guys to keep up and just not let you win. But now they've done that, and you've got the points. You know how much on you were winning every play. This is what you do, and you make a big point of saying that at every match, to safeguard the children, you are advising the parents not to be racist. You ask the ref to make that known on each time, because then if they don't do it, that's them again not adhering to what they need to do. All right. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
And in the comment section, Nate is also saying, are you recording the games as well? Have you got video evidence too?
We've got Vivo. So that's the thing that we used to record again. So we've got that from down there. I've kept every single email from way back from even from the first time when they fined me and everything, all the way through to the appeal processes, to even where clubs previous chairmen has not backed me and everything from there, and I've contested it. So there's a massive paper trail from down there.
Fantastic.
You know, it's one of them things where you know that you need to, when you know you have to fight against these people, you got to fight fire with fire. So when they expect you to come aggressive and as they're being labelled as aggressive, if you come with just nice words and just think, oh, okay, there we go, here's the facts on paper, it's in English, so you should be able to understand what's written in English. You know,
they should be, but we know that's a problem, hence why that's the prompt on the screen today. But also to open, so your Facebook group, if you can as well, open it up and just talk about safeguarding of children in industries such as sport, because we know that sport is a massive problem. Because there's a reason why I've got white culture being schmextorianism and paedophilia, like the fact that the coaches are also inappropriate with children, right? So if you want to open it up and just say anything to do with British sport and safeguarding of children, you might get more traction. You talk about your own personal situation, and that's when you bring in the racism and the discrimination. Yeah, you can open that up.
You know what? Something, you know, I'm not even joking about it. I think, as Mimi said, this might be a thing now where, you know, it sounds trivial to some people when they hear about it, but these are the little traces of what we have to go through in this country, even to a case of all I want to do is coach young children grassroots football because they ain't got nowhere else to go and nothing else to do. So train them twice a week and give them a safe environment is the best we can do from there. And you're getting people, you know what I mean? So maybe it's a case of it needs to be, because I know I'm not the only one in a small little thing. Like I say, I live in a 3,500 little village. How many little pocket villages of 3,500, 4,000 people are there? And when you count them all up, that soon becomes millions. You know?
Exactly. And it's about reaching them and making sure that this is a conversation that people can be involved in. And I'm so glad that you came back and gave us an update, Mission. Like, thank you so much for this. I know it might feel like really difficult and tough work, but like we said last time, is you've been put in this position because the universe knows that you can do it. They know you can do it. You know that you've got us here to also give you that support and give you that advice and to tell you to keep going, you know, because this is how we do it together. And I hope as well that you want to join us for a Black Conversation every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. It is specifically a Black conversation. African, Caribbean, diaspora, everybody is welcome from our group. So please do come by as well if you're able to.
We'll
Saturday
do.
morning.
Also, just another quick one as well, because there's one that is about white culture being war, these spec stories and paedophilia. If you ever do another live on that one again, I would love to come up on there, because there's a very deep personal one, but I think you're the perfect woman to share with on that one, especially because it's a touchy one. But if you're doing the next one, I would love to come up and share that with you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, actually, this is the first time that I've got multiple prompts on the screen, and everybody who's been here for about a year or however long I've been doing this, almost 2 years, I would only have one prompt. But recently I have wanted to talk more about English culture and white culture and the PD, especially because of the Baby Preston case. But those people who've been here regularly know that I've been crying too much. I haven't been able to do it. But Hermit Sapien, thank you to you. You have given some comments in our group chat, because we have a moderators group chat. And like I said, I've wanted to talk about that. So I thought if I put it as part of this, it would be easier for me to do it, because honestly, it is too... the thing is, I don't have a personal experience to this. I'm just so empathetic towards children and vulnerable people that I find it too difficult to talk about. Like I just cry and I can't get through it. So for anyone who wants to talk about that, please do. And I will leave that prompt up there for maybe in the next few weeks or so. And I'll just change the boxes from around, but I will leave that one up as well, especially so you can come back and discuss it, Michelle. Thank you so much.
And just very quickly, Nate, thank you very much for that, bruvs. And I'm only in the East Midlands, so I'll bring a packed lunch when you're ready, bruvs, what you said earlier on, okay? So, enough love, Nate. All right, everyone have a blessed and beautiful day, okay? All right. Everyone take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you next time. Bye. Right, we've got Amma next, please. Amma, how are you?
Wait, okay, I was waiting for ages.
I know. you finally made it. Sometimes it's quick, sometimes it's slow, but you're here. You made the distance. Congratulations.
I found one of your videos online, yeah, and this is so crazy because you look and remind me so much of my sister. It's mental. So I feel like I've got like, even though I'm watching you, you don't know who I am. I feel like I got a connection with you because you're just so like my sister. It's mad, man. Like,
That's so nice.
It's mad. Like, you look just like her. Anyways, so yeah, basically, I think I came from one of your videos. I think it was like a parody kind of. I can't remember what was in the video, but it was something about like white culture, and like the mad thing is like for my whole life, my sister's been saying to me like, "Oh, this about white people, that about white people," and I grew up in like I went to like a grammar school, and I've lived in like Chingford, like different areas of a lot of white people, so I had a lot of white friends. So I've always been like kind of like, oh, don't make it about race kind of thing, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So anyways, a lot of people know me on TikTok from my story of like me losing my daughter with the NHS and stuff. And I'm not going to get into that because I'm still positive and stuff like that. But I don't know if you ever seen the interview with like Charlemagne and so on. He's like, have you ever had an N wake up moment? And like that whole experience I had with them, that was like my N wake up moment where I started realizing like, wow, like this is about my race. Like, but it took me so long. Like, now I'm not saying everything that happens in my life and all this stuff is just about race. No one's ever saying that. But like, I started looking back on like my life experiences, and I'm like, I'll be like young playing like Call of Duty. I used to have a white girlfriend. I was playing Call of Duty, and then people would be like, N-word, N-word, da 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 da, and I'll be laughing. And then my white girlfriend will be like, well, why are they saying that? Like, she's never seen it before. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, why are they saying that? I'm like, this is normal. So it's like, what happens is a lot of the time you normalize the stuff that you go through. And then it's only when you look back, like, I'll look back on like times when I'm a child and I'm like doing really well in rugby. I'm like the best player on the team. Then I remember I had to almost fight one guy. Everyone was crying around me, get fighting. He said the N-word. I wasn't understanding. I'm like, why is he saying the N-word when I'm the best player on the team? He's just saying, oh, he's just an N-word. So anyways, I'm not getting into the whole thing because I'm not sensitive. I don't get offended by things like words and that. First thing I wanted to ask you was, where did you move? Because like I'm a little bit well traveled, not as well as you, but like I'm very interested in where you moved and why you chose there, basically.
Yeah. Okay, I don't tell anyone because I don't like English people, British people following me and ruin in another country. So I don't say anything. But yeah, I've been to, as you know, 56 countries, and I just say that I've moved to a Muslim country, and it is very peaceful and it's lovely. People are friendly and helpful, and I've been here for 5 years now, and I love it. It's lovely.
Yeah, you're not. Are you Muslim though? You're not Muslim.
No, I'm not Muslim at all. No.
Okay, yeah, no. I try to tell people a lot, like, because you get these people coming like Muslim culture is this, that. I'm like, I'm not religious, and I say that you do realize that like all religious people have a form of cognitive dissonance. Just because it says that in their holy book, don't mean that they're all gonna think this or practice anyway. But
this is where we talk about propaganda, though, and living in England, it is full of propaganda. And like I always say, is that the government and the media will always tell English people who they're supposed to like and not like, because we weren't having this Muslim conversation before like from 9/11, right? From 9/11 is when it kind of started to creep a bit. Before then, it was not a conversation, but it has escalated because, like we said earlier, is that they really just want a civil war. This is what the 1% want because they're so greedy. They have no limits. It's like, which sections of society can we pick off? They've already gone after old people. They already did that in COVID. They said, you know what? These people are irrelevant. They are surplus to society. Let's push COVID in there and all these old people can die, whatever. They also killed off a lot of the health workers who, again, were immigrants and immigrant background, right? There's not enough conversation about this. All of the black and brown people and doctors and nurses that literally lost their lives because they were being forced to work during COVID. There is not enough conversation about that. It's dreadful.
It's
so,
funny.
you know, they've always been able to do this about certain sections of society because this is what Anglo-Saxons have always done. They've always seen everybody else as being the enemy. And if you are Anglo-Saxon, you're also an enemy because they just don't like themselves either. That's it.
Yeah, and it's funny because like when that whole Henry Novak thing came about, like, well, you know how you're saying they started getting more mad at the Muslims after 9/11? They used to be mad at the Polish. I remember my whole childhood, these man, oh, the Polish, they're coming to the... So then now they moved up. But someone in the comments is saying that I host alt-right lives. That's not the case. So a lot of people think that I'm anti-black or whatever because I like America. So I talk about America and like healthcare reform and stuff. So people think that I'm a right wing, anti-black like raccoon, but I'm not. I want to move to America to a
But why
diverse
would
part
you
of America.
think? Yeah, but why would you think that people say that? Because sometimes people don't say that for no reason.
They say,
Why
well,
would they
they
say
say
that?
it. They say it first of all because human beings like to put people in categories. So they like if they want to see you as you're either this archetype or you're this archetype, and if you deviate from that, then they think like, oh, you don't agree with this opinion or that opinion. And then there's also the fact that America.
I've never been called a raccoon ever, and I've
It's
been on this
because I like
platform for
America.
quite some time.
It's because I
I
like
like America too. I like
what I'm saying.
America too.
They know
And no
that.
one will ever come here and tell me this. I followed you because honestly, I'll come and I will judge you, Emma, myself, and I will tell you whether you are or not.
This is what I'm saying. You're just like my sister. This is what my sister.
I will tell you. I will tell you whether you are or not.
Bro, me and my sister talk about this stuff so much because she says she don't say I'm a raccoon. She knows I'm not, but she says to me like, I disagree with you on this, I disagree with that. So it's like people just want to put people in a box. But for the people that think this or that about me, whatever, yeah. Listen, I got black kids, me a black person. I'm black through and through. So don't tell me.
He said, I've got black kids.
No,
Red
listen
flag.
to me. No, that's not red flag. Nah,
That
'cause
is a
listen.
red flag, Emma.
Nah,
That's a
because
red flag. That's a
trying to
red
say-
flag. Why did you have to bring that up? Why
Because-
did you have to bring that up? If you're black, you don't even have to mention the color of your children.
Let me tell you why. Because I believe in the progression and advancement of black people. And one of the main ways to progress and advance black people is to progress and advance the black family. I don't have kids. I'm not trying to integrate into a different culture. I'm Igbo, isn't it? My family's Igbo. The point I'm trying to make is that I'm pro-black, but people think that I'm not pro-black because of some
you're
of my
doing
opinions.
something. Yeah, and you're obviously doing things to make people think that way. I'm
Like
very
what?
pro-black. I'm very pro-black. Everybody here will tell you I am very pro-black. Like I said, I hold specifically Black Lives on a Saturday for blackness, for black empowerment, for black progress. You will no one will ever be able to come here and tell me something. But again, I talk about the FBAs, for example. I talk about the FBAs, and I also do hold a space open for them to also integrate and understand the global conversation about black and brown unity being a key to a better world, right? That's exactly what I talk about. But if people are telling you something, Amma, do you not think, or can you not see, or do you not have some kind of tiny percentage in your mind to be like, do you know what, maybe there's a reason why people are saying this to me?
Of
Like
course
instead
there's
of you being defensive and being like, oh no, because I said it this way. Think about what you are actually saying and what you're actually doing to make people think that in quite a big way, it seems, because the comment section is saying it, and you are the one who also brought it up. You brought it up yourself. I don't even know you, but
Yep.
you brought it up. So
I 100% understand why people view things that way, but you got to understand within the black community, not everyone agrees. Like, for example, I don't necessarily agree with like socialism. I'm more libertarian. So people associate that with ideas around white supremacy, around like trying to, like colonialism and stuff like that. So people think that because I lean more capitalist, they think that means that I'm in alignment with the power structure and what have you with that. It's not because I actually am, I'm telling you what people think. Do you get it? So within the black community, there's obviously a diversity of opinions on different things.
But you know that capitalism is a white construct, though, and it does signify whiteness, because if you think about or know anything about our culture, you're an Igbo man, you should know, sir, I'm Yoruba, right? You should know about what our people were like, what Nigeria was like before colonization, before the British spent all their time in Nigeria. You should know that that's not compatible with us as people. That's why it's a whiteness that doesn't belong to us. We should not be in that. We should not be in that world right now. Like, a lot of us are trying to go back to what we were like before, right? Okay, in your mind, you might think, well, you know what? This is capitalism. Capitalism is here to stay. Okay, fair enough. If that's what you think, okay, but at the same time, we are living in another world, which is just trying to get out of capitalism. We are leaving those systems. We are not going to be spending thousands of pounds on this and that and doing that, blah, 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 because it just doesn't serve us. We've realized that capitalism is what broke the world. It was what broke us as people. And that's why we have to think about, okay, how do we make money? But then how do we redistribute it? Because that's where socialism comes in. Capitalism is all about greed. It is all about the self. Socialism is about bringing the money back to societies, bring back to community and culture, and then redistributing it so then it can cultivate and build upon itself again in a healthy way. Because capitalism is evil.
So is it fair to say that now you probably understand why people think that this, that, and the third? But I respectfully disagree. I believe that through economics, that's how we advance black people. I believe, my Igbos, prior to them being colonized, they had market days. They were, we've always been known for being industrious, entrepreneurial people. So it's not that. All I'm trying to say is that my version of how to advance the black community isn't just based, because you've got to remember, socialism also is a so-called white supremacist construct in a sense.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Well,
it does not.
Let me hear what do you understand socialism to be? Because
I just explained what socialism. I explained even what you're describing as Igbo culture is still socialism. And thank you, exactly. Okay. It's commerce, not capitalism. Like we were all doing business, right? We were still trading. We had gold, we had salt, we had oil, we had education. We traded. That's what trade was. It was commerce. It was literally how we all survived. We all lived in that way, and we also cultivated, right? But it was not capitalism. It is not capitalism is not the same thing. It's not the same thing.
Don't you think that, let's say in a place like the UK, if we encourage more and more socialism, doesn't that encourage people to become more dependent on the state? And doesn't it require like a state bureaucracy, and it gives these individuals more power over us, more power in our lives? Do you understand?
No, that's what capitalism is. That's what capitalism is. I feel like you've been very misguided on what capitalism is to start with and what socialism is. Like I've just said, is that literally when you have a society that is very social, right? It is basically about going back to community, and there's nobody was relying on each other. There was no such thing as debt. There was no such thing. Oh, you owe me this and blah blah. The world did not run like that. It didn't run like that. Like you're literally describing capitalism and the problems with capitalism right there and then. That's what you're describing.
When you said before that what I said is not what, that socialism, it doesn't come from like the white power structure. Could you like break that down a bit more?
So yeah, I just explained. So socialism, like I said, was literally about what we had naturally in the right. There was nothing man-made. Okay, if we go back, there was no such thing as man-made money. Okay, man-made money has become the problem. You understand that, right? Man-made money, printed money.
Well, like I'd say
don't go too far. You understand? Man-made. That's what I'm saying. The key word is man-made, right? You understand? Man-made currency. Yeah. It was made.
All currency is man-made. You're talking about fiat.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It used to. No, brother. You need to please go back because we literally used to trade in like coffee beans or like I said, in gold, in anything that was natural. Used to trade in those things naturally.
When can I talk?
What do you have?
When can I talk?
You can talk when it's time. When it's time. When you can wait, Naruto. There's a queue, and obviously. Goodbye, you're dropped. Impatience, I don't like. We're literally having a conversation, Amra and I. Yeah, exactly, coffee beans. It was literally anything that was natural on a land. Thank you. Again, look, Amma, everybody is educated in the comment section. Everybody knows. Why don't you know, Amma? Why don't you know? Barter system. Like, we know these things. No, but you don't, because you're pushing capitalism. Seashells, anything natural, we used to trade naturally. It was only until the Europeans came and they came with their greed that they start to, again, like we talked about pollution the other week, right? Somebody said about, pollution existed. No, it didn't. It didn't exist before what? Capitalism again, creating all these factories and pushing all this disgusting toxicity out into the world, along with man-made currency. Even the things like the passport, again, the Europeans brought because they were the ones who divided up land, right? We couldn't trade like we used to do with our brothers and our neighbors because the Europeans put all the borders in place and then said, do you know what? We got this passport documentation. You can't have it, but we have it, because then that means that we can now use our money that we have and you don't have. And we now have the documentation that we have and you don't have. That's capitalism.
My understanding is that currency existed in Egypt, currency existed in Babylon, currency existed in Africa before Europeans came to those places. If you're talking about fiat currency, like debt-based currency, then yes, I agree. But I don't think that currency and the pursuit of capital in itself is inherently bad or immoral. And my overarching point is that in order to advance the black community, wherever we're at, whether in America, Europe, Africa, I believe that requires investment. I believe it requires the pursuit of capital. It requires innovation. All of these things are dependent on currency, right?
Mimi's got some things she wants to add as well. I know you're not going to hear. I know you haven't heard a single thing that I've said, Amma, and you're not going to hear. I know you haven't heard anything.
He's been radicalized, and this is part of a growing trend that I'm spotting with particularly black men online, unfortunately, who are in the red pill space, and it moves from them being. Can you go on mute whilst I'm speaking, please? Because you're getting feedback.
Yeah, we've got some feedback there. Yeah, just some feedback on you, Amma.
I'm trying to be quick because I know there's other people that want to speak. So they move from being disaffected. He had something horrific happen to him. I remember his story. It always stuck out to me. He needed support and he wasn't, I don't think he's got it correctly. And so it's lended himself to going into this kind of, I think maybe this manosphere, this red pill, and now also this alt-right. The alt-right are targeting black men, and it's scary because they're falling into it. His format is very much akin with the alt-right formats that I come across in the US. When we look at cults and the radicalization, he's being groomed. And one of the things that concerns me is that he does not understand that even the term that he's used, libertarianism, these are alt-right fascist talking points, and the conservative movement as well. When black people talk about liberalism or conservatism, their idea of it does not match what the ideology is. Even in what he says, for you to be supporting capitalism, and this goes into your topic about black and brown people choosing oppression, you're not even realizing that the first capital, particularly the States, was black bodies, was our enslaved black bodies. Capitalism relies, it is built upon black bodies' oppression, okay? There is no way that a capitalist system will ever be good for any black or brown person. It is structured in a way that it cannot be. And all it was having private capital and private property, okay? Before we were functioning in the barter system that you're referring to, quite calmly. No, there wasn't really that many issues. However, I don't want to keep, because I know he's still here as well, I don't want to take his time as well, but I cannot stress enough, when we're hearing this online, as a black community, as those of us that are concerned about what's happening now, we need to understand and we need to be vigilant to these grooming tactics and this radicalization that is happening amongst the community. What he's saying does not ideologically make sense. He is not aware of that. And that is why he's repeating these verbatim talking points that the alt-right are grooming these men to say. Capitalism, conservatism, all of that is conserving the white power structure. It means that you are placed in the interest of these whitey oppressors before and above your own. Yes, you might have one exception, and he'll come back and be like, oh, they were black slave owners.
Excuse me.
What I tell you is that those black slave owners were the descendants of those whitey oppressors. So they were what they called mulattoes. So they were the literal descendants of those people. Okay. The myth of the exception does not create the rule, and we need to be careful about what we are consuming. There are black theorists for a reason. There are black Marxists for a reason. When we talk about socialism, we talk about it like it's a dirty word. We have existed within socialism for millennia before we got to this recent capitalist project. It is dangerous for black people, black men in particular. It is dangerous for you to be coming in and speaking like this and talking about capitalism is going to be the way for you to be oppressed, to get your way out of oppression. It's the inverse. I'm going to stop there because I don't want to take up too much more time on this.
So,
Thank you so much.
Can I say something against that?
No,
Just to
user, please
respond.
wait, user. So
Just-
we've got Riri next, then Anna Krista, and then Mimi, and then user. So you've got a long while to wait, user. Please don't interrupt, because if you do interrupt, I will have to drop you, because you're actually going to be the last person if you are willing to wait. So Amma, you want to finish your last points, and then I'm going to move to Riri.
Yep, that's fine. So just to respond, I disagree strongly. I'm not conservative. I believe that there's different ways to structure society using current.
Nigger.
Yeah. So I believe that there's different ways to structure society. I don't. When my understanding of socialism is more about wealth redistribution, having a central state allocate resources to people. I believe more in individualism, individual freedom. I don't come up and start talking about, oh, there were black slave owners. That's not my goal. But I think that you may want to put me into that category, which you're free to put me in whatever category you perceive, but that's not who I am. That's not what I believe. My belief system, I'd have to go on my own live and talk my own talking points for me to explain my belief system. But to me, I think there's space within the black community for different concepts of how we can advance an economy, how we can advance communities without necessarily having like centrally planned communities with wealth redistribution. That's just my opinion. I don't think that means that I'm supporting a white power structure and all of this stuff. Like I could just easily levy that same allegation to you and say, if you believe in socialism in the UK, you believe in having a large bureaucracy, which is necessarily going to be made up of white people. So I don't think
literally just explained about black culture and black history was based on socialism. Again, like Mimi has literally said what you are, which is what I agree. You are stuck in this with your talking points are so rigid, right? They are so rigid based on your current ideology of what you think whiteness is and what you think blackness is. Current, not historical, what we're talking about, where these things actually came from. That's what we're talking about. You're in somewhere different. Somewhere completely different. And I don't know if you came here to try and convince us of something. And I don't know what the reason is that you decided to come on my panel today. But you said that I look like your sister, and it seems like me and your sister are on one page and you're on a different one, Amma.
Yeah,
you went in our family. I'm more related to your sister than we are related. And the funny thing is, your name is kind of a nickname that I call my sister, funny enough. My sister's name, we call her Amma as a nickname, which is hilarious. Amma, just good luck with your life. I follow you now, and I'm going to see what the things that you are going to do. And you know that people are combative against you for a reason. And if you want to continue on that route, the only person that's going to feel the consequence of that, unfortunately, is you. And, we do really, really hard work here. We really try to protect our black brothers on this platform. Me, especially me. If you heard, we were just talking to Mission FM, right? We were talking to him, giving him advice. Like I said on my Saturday thing, we're always talking and giving advice to people. If people don't want to hear the advice, if people don't want to be here actually for black people in a way that makes sense, then we cannot communicate any further. But I will say, like I say, I will invite you, Amma. I will invite you in a hope that you actually can have the ability to sit with us and listen to what we're talking about and what is actually going to be good for black people. Not what you think it could be, but what black people actually need, which is us to get back to our energetic selves and what we were originally. This is very, very important for the future and progress of black people. Yeah. Not, again, what white people have decided, which is that what you're pushing is what white people have decided. We need to do what black people have decided and what we actually need to do. Right, I'm moving to the next person. Thank you so much for the conversation, Anna. All right. Thank you for that.
Thanks.
Thank you. Take care. Bye. Okay, Riri, how are you today?
I'm good, you?
I'm lovely, thank you. Which topic do you want to discuss, please, Riri?
I just want to ask a question about the black and brown people choosing oppression, and then I'll move on to the black and brown unity.
Mm-hmm. Sure, go for it.
Can I ask the question? Black and brown people choosing oppression, like I don't think we do. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to ask, what's that about?
Oh, you want to ask why I put that up there?
Yeah.
Okay, so I talk about this quite a lot. I talk about things like religion, how that was not in our lands, really. You know, this modern form of Christianity, and we talked about this earlier, actually, about how Christianity has really brainwashed Black people, especially. That's a problem, right? That's a problem. And if you're in 2026 and you're seeing the conversation and yet you're still choosing that, you are choosing your own oppression, because it's not compatible with us. And then also in terms of, I talk about the N-word sometimes. The N-word was, of course, created to oppress Black people. So, and funny enough, that Amma was the one who brought up the N-word situation. I've been on this live for almost 3 hours today, and Amma is the person who actually brought up the N-word and talking about how freely he was using it. And based on the conversation, he's literally choosing oppression by choosing whiteness. That's also part of it. Using a word that literally used to enslave us and trying to say, oh, it's a cool word now, it doesn't mean anything anymore. No, keep that word in circulation. It literally is the lowest vibrational word attached to Black people. That's oppression. I also talk about, we just of course talked about capitalism, right? Capitalism is a massive way to keep Black people oppressed by using these systems and just staying in them. That is choosing oppression again. So, and just whiteness, just being attached to whiteness and what that stands for, like all of these low vibrational things like war and schmexterism and paedophilia, that's whiteness. It's not what lives in the rest of the world. It does in a certain extent, but we haven't built entire cultures or existences upon this stuff in not a huge scale like whiteness has. And so that is the oppression I'm talking about. Yeah.
Okay, and I feel like colonization does that as well, plays a part too.
That's a part of it, yes.
You know what I mean? So, because remember, you know, with the Hindu caste system and stuff like, I'm not even Hindu, by the way, but
yes,
they so the elites weaponize that to brainwash the people from South Asia to believe that dark is bad and light is good, sort of thing.
Yes,
you know?
That's right. Yes, I'm aware of the caste system, and that's how they managed to do colonization with a racial hierarchy in mind. With caste in mind, because of course when the Europeans came, or when the Anglo-Saxons came, who thought they were the whitest of white, that's of course when they went into Asia, and they did go into parts of Africa too and said, well, you know, you lighter skinned ones, you're more like us, so now you can be in the offices and you can still keep the Black people or the dark skinned people in the fields. They can be all the manual labor servants as they actually were, right? And so they really distributed power in a much more insidious way. Yeah, and put punishment as part of it, and put death as part of it too.
Because the caste system was based on vocation, as in like the priests are at the top, and do you get what I mean? So I'm not really educated on this topic, I'm not going to lie to you, but that's what I know. Yeah, so, and then Black and Brown unity, we are stronger together because we can learn off of each other's communities, because we have similar resources and whatnot.
That's right, and we were before. This is why history is important. I talk about the trade of knowledge and wealth and goods and things through Africa and Asia. You can literally find old trade routes, actually, what used to connect us. We used to travel all the way around the coast of East Africa down and then across into Asia, right? We used to do that. And then when the Europeans got involved, there was some still trade from Europe as well. There was trade, but then of course they realized that our lands were abundant. And so they thought it was better to colonize rather than to integrate and trade. But why are doing things like e-commerce, trading, and like even the Grecians did this. And if we're talking about white culture, the Grecians, the Romans, they also traded and did commerce in that way. It was not as capitalistic as the white Western European. People don't realize that, well, they do realize here as well, that capitalism was born in Britain. Adam Smith, a Scottish man in the 1800s, started to push capitalism because people were waking up and realizing that enslavement of people was no longer acceptable in humanity. And of course, the uprisings that would happen from enslaved Africans. So they're like, what can we replace it with? Because we still need to produce, we still need to do all these things. Let's replace it with capitalism. And this is why it's bad, because capitalism was born out of bad blood. It was born out of bad blood. It will never be able to be something in this world that is sustainable. And we're in late stage capitalism now as well. So I don't know, Amma, if you're still here, late stage capitalism we're in right now. So if capitalism was working, why would we be in late stage right now? It is imploding on itself. there is no place for it anymore. Riri, any last points, or should I move to the next person? Riri? I don't know if she's still there. Riri, okay, thank you so much for the conversation. I'm going to move now to Anachronista. Anachronista, how are you?
Hi, I'm well, thank you. I love this colour on you. It looks gorgeous.
Thank you so much. Thank you, lovely.
How are
So which topic,
Well, firstly,
yeah, I'm okay.
I'd like to ask you, how are things in your Muslim country? Because it sounds a lot nicer than things here.
It's beautiful. I love it so much. 5 years of peace and harmony and bliss and no fucking drama and no angry people. But the angry people, I need to do a video on this because I've even filmed it. Hannah, my real life friend, bless her. I'm going to see her soon. Hopefully I get to see you in a couple of weeks, Hannah, because I'm coming back to the UK. I need to do a video on this because the funny thing is I had a situation with a British guy here, English guy, last year or so. He would talk all the time, Pakistani this, black people this. He would talk about it to me, right? We would walk dogs together. And the thing is with me is I'm able to talk about anything. So I don't get offended when people say stuff. I listen and I say, well, no, actually, I correct. But as soon as I said, well, English people, oh, you can't talk about, honestly, he crashed out. He crashed out. And I was like, dude, I've literally been hearing you for about a year saying stuff. And as soon as I said, well, English people, he crashed out. And then he walks his dog right past the front of my house. And so I stopped him middle of last year or something. What's his name again? I've forgotten his stupid name. But I shouted him and I said, oi, come here a minute. I said, why is it that you just don't even talk to me anymore? Because, he starts to avoid me. And I said, you just stop talking to me. I said, why? Because I know he was uncomfortable. But honestly, he was twitching like this. He was shaking like this, like, wow. Oh my God, this is an uncomfortable conversation. I feel And this was the funniest part of what he said. He's a builder. And he goes, yeah, well, when the Polish came, they stole all the jobs from the white people. Oh, he told me this. I said, Polish are white? That's what he said to me. And you know what? I walked my dog on Monday. I've never seen this so far. Walk past. Guess who now has got an England flag flying high up on their house?
Of course.
Him. And honestly, I filmed it on my phone, so I say I'm going to do a video about it. But he is literally the only person, and there are a few English people around here that live in the village that I live in. It is a very local village here, very, very local. And some of them are all right. Like there's a neighbour I have on the back here. She's lovely, really lovely, and a husband. Great conversations with her. I really like her. And she's in her 60s as well. But there's a reason, like when I moved here, I did not want to be involved in the English, British immigrant community because they don't integrate, they don't learn the other language. Even though actually when I've been to learn languages, I've been to learn the local language, and if it's other foreigners, it's German people who are actually trying to learn the language. It's not any British people, English people, or at least they try for like a day. I met someone in the supermarket the other week. She says she'd been here for 40 years. She didn't speak a word of the local language. She was just reading the local language off of labels on the counter when we were getting food from the fresh food counter. Yeah, so it's really frustrating, but yeah, it is lovely living where I live. I say, and the weather, of course, helps a lot.
Yes,
and I think if the weather was better all year round in England, I think people would be less miserable.
Yes,
Truly.
I agree completely.
I do.
But in terms of topics, I wanted to touch briefly on two I think that kind of overlap a little bit, and that is English people not understanding English and white people being such victims. And I want to start it by, and I know I'm going to butcher the quote, I'm going to paraphrase it because I can't remember it word for word, but there was a president in America decades ago that once said that if you can convince the poorest white man that he is better than every black man, then he will not pay attention whilst you pick his pocket.
Yes.
And that's what's happening. And it's really frustrating to watch people with white pastel, almost glowing white complexion that have refused to do any kind of, not even research, just basic reading of thinking or critical thinking. They refuse to believe that there is any kind of world where they are not superior. And I don't want to live around people like that. I don't want to live in that kind of environment. I think that it's toxic and harmful. And yeah.
It is. And that's why it's really important for people to find their own joy wherever they can, whether it's in hobbies, whether it is with connecting with your friends. Travel was a big thing for me. I had to go I had to leave. Like, traveling was the best hobby that I had in the UK. And ever since I've moved, I don't need to travel so much anymore. But, you know, it's like all of the things that really just make you feel happier, just do more of it. The positive vibration and positive energy is really, really important for the survival of one's mental health living in the UK. And I know that's very hard at the moment, especially with how connected we are through social media, and of course knowing that that the own media is very much about dividing people and causing all this nonsense, because we have to pay attention to it. We can't ignore it, because, you know, it's very serious, the fact that reform, and actually that was going to be one of my prompts today, and maybe I'll put it up there for next time, about how they're trying to fucking do away with human rights, for God's sake. And just because they hate immigrants so much, they want to get rid of human rights. They don't even know what human rights is or what it means. And they don't know what it means.
One of the things that I think is not being, I've not seen sort of reach many British circles, is the fact that they've just, the Supreme Court a couple of weeks ago changed the laws around disabled people and their access to care. And it basically says that the states have no responsibility to provide social care to disabled people. And therefore, they suggest shelving disabled people in warehouses. And that's something that RFK Jr. was talking about before the election. So this was something that I've been on the lookout for the whole time. And it is really very frightening, because when Farage was asked about that in an interview, shortly after he last brought it up publicly, RFK last brought it up publicly, and when he was talking about, at that point, also an autism register, and Farage was asked, what do you think of this policy? And he said, yeah, I want to do that here. It's a great idea. So, like, I try and tell these people, it is not Britain first to delve your own people in warehouses.
Jesus Christ. I need to do this as a prompt. I'm going to do a live tomorrow, and we definitely need to talk about this element a hell of a lot more, because this is what it is you know, and I try to use my platform to make people see that Anglo-Saxons, they hate themselves so much, they don't care who they drag down with them. They really don't give a shit that they were willing to vote for Reform and Restore just because they're so hateful. Like, it is so dangerous, and it's so horrible that, again, they forgot that the UK, Britain at one point was what? Socialist, because that's when they brought in the social sorry, I've lost it off the top of my head, like the benefit system, but what you actually call it welfare. Thank you, the welfare state and welfare system. Thank you. It was because of after the Second World War, that was when there was a lot more disabled people, of course, from injuries, and that's why it was actually created. And so now you want to get rid of it? Like, do you care about humans, and do you care about your fellow man or not? It seems like you don't anymore. Yeah, no, they don't. Or you never did. I don't know.
The amount of Reform and Restorers that tell me, same as they tell everybody, leave the country then if you don't like it. And it's like, well, I quite like the country. What I don't like is what you're doing to it. Yeah. And when it comes to, like, being a socialist country, even then, we weren't really a socialist. There were people in the Labour Party that recognised that everybody was too sick, and there were too many people missing from the workforce as a result of World War One and Two, that they needed to do something to facilitate getting people healthier again and back into work. It was
they called on us.
Yes.
They called
Exactly.
on us because we weren't
Exactly.
affected by the war. Guess why? Because it was a massive white on white crime that was in Europe. So guess what? We had to go to the Caribbeans because guess what? Again, over there is the Commonwealth, and that is very, very lovely speak for places we colonized, which meant that we'd enslaved you beforehand, we'd raped you, and we'd murdered you en masse for hundreds of years. That is what the Commonwealth is. And I always tell people who wave the Commonwealth flag and say they're part of the Commonwealth, like, you forgot what that even means. How did you even get there? How did you get? And the wealth ain't common because the British Empire ain't shared none of that wealth with you. They ain't shared none of that wealth with you. Look at even the a few months ago, right? The tsunami in Jamaica. How much did they give? £1 million or something stupid?
I think it was 2 million. And it
2
was,
million.
Yeah, and they were expecting something like 12.
Nobody can even survive. Look at us these days. We are play. I'm getting tired now. I think you play the National Lottery or Euro Millions, and you get a lot more by doing that. Let alone a whole freaking country that has been devastated by a natural disaster, hurricane. Thank you. I thought of tsunami in my head because I know a tsunami is coming to the US. That's why tsunami is in my head. Some of you guys know that, I'm spiritual. So I got a message 2 years ago that a lot of more natural disasters are going to happen, and they're going to happen in a lot more white countries as part of the karma. Because somebody else brought this up earlier, but we've talked about it for weeks, about how things are naturally killing off white people. And as we know, the sun is getting hotter, which is, of course, leading to more white people jumping in rivers and drowning. And somebody brought up the Mount Everest and places with all the streams of all the Europeans all dead up there. Natural reasons why white people are going to be off the planet. That's one of it. Yeah.
And ideally, please, fellow white people, please don't put your own people in warehouses. All of us should be considered our own people. We are all British. It doesn't matter who came from where. It matters that we want to make a society where we all stand a chance of surviving in a cold, hard world, and where we have the best life possible that we can achieve. That's it. And all of this distraction, blaming other people for our own failures, is just petty bitch behaviour. I'm sorry.
It is petty bitch behaviour. It is loser behaviour. Because they haven't been able to achieve anything themselves. They're like, who's the next person I can blame for everything that went wrong? Oh, them. Like I said earlier, all they do is just, wherever the government or the media decides where they're going to look, wherever their eyes want to go, it's like, look over there. Okay. They tell you, look over there. Okay. Look over there. Okay. That's literally them. That's why I have a video on my page saying English people are NPCs. Because this is literally all they do. They just follow the crowd. But yeah, I would love to pick up this conversation tomorrow if you're also available, Anachronista. I'm going to bring that prompt to the screen to this.
Fridays are tricky for me because Monday, Wednesday, and Friday I have a carer that comes to help with personal care. So I'm, Tuesdays and Thursdays are kind of my free days. I don't have to.
I will make sure that I'll keep it up again for next year because I will change out some of them. Some of them I will keep. So hopefully you can join us. And of course, there is this have a question, ask me anything. So that means you can ask me anything and we can discuss it another time anyway. So we don't have to feel so restricted.
Drop me a message if you want to do a live specifically on disabled rights and the erosion of that, because
I would love that, especially because I don't know. Yeah, especially because I don't know enough, and I would love to give more platform to that. And Mimi as well would know some things too, and she would be absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much, Anachronista. I will definitely pop that as a box up in there. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, Mimi, again, gorgeous. You are the last. Thank you.
The last woman standing. Thank you. Yes. And I've got my pen to bang as well, so let's buckle up.
Go for it, girl.
I didn't want to touch this topic, but I'm actually going to do it because of when I last spoke. So Black and brown people choosing oppression. I think what we're noticing now is some of us are leaning into it. Because unfortunately it is this idea that whiteness provides security, and therefore them having close proximity to whiteness make sure that they're secure, and they believe that, well, if I'm around these YT people, it doesn't matter what they do to other people, I'll be okay. And we have a classic example of that with Kemi Badnoch and the party that she represents. Also with the black and brown faces that are in the Labour Party currently now that are helping to push through some of the most draconian laws that will actually not be for the benefit of the community. And in the Conservative Party, they were propped up by whom? Black and brown people. So the elites know what they're doing. They're not new to this. But unfortunately for our community, it seems like we are. So let me just preface this and say that there is a reason why in these times you see people leaning into conservatism and libertarianism. Like I explained that a bit earlier, so I'm not going to go through that again. We also need to understand as well, religion also plays into it. As Marx says, it's the placation of the masses. It's to help nullify you. We were a collective people. We were spiritual and we were collectivists for a reason, okay? And I always say this to people. There's a reason why our black ancestors took the time to put pen to paper and document the cheat code, because we've been here before. It is a cycle. We are in the current cycle of fascism. We are in a current cycle of the European project. You rightly said that we are at the end of the capitalist project. A lot of people don't seem to understand that. We are moving into a phase of techno-feudalism. That means that the people like Elon Musk and the paper mafia, they will be in control of countries. It's no longer a case that a country is sovereign within its own right, which always cracks me up when I hear a lot of white people be like, we were a sovereign nation, we want our sovereignty back. You have just allowed Elon Musk to practically bankrupt you. A lot of people don't realize that in your pensions, the majority of pensions in the West are now tied up into his project. The fact that he's been able to become a trillionaire means he's too big to fail. And it also means that if he does fail and his stocks go down, a lot of our pensions and how we as a country raise funding will also be impacted. This is how dangerous it is. It's insidious. They know what they're doing. They're not stupid. They're not new to this. So for the black people that are doing this, you're suffering from last place anxiety. And the irony is, we've got black Marxists. We have got black ideology that focuses on this correctly. If you start to read, because I know he's still in here as well, read Frantz Fanon. Yeah, he talks about this extensively. The double consciousness from Du Bois talks about this extensively. C.L. James and his Marxism work. When people try to reduce it down to capitalism, and you'll be like, oh, it's not about race, it's about class. That class reductionism. They're all doing what the black Marxists have told us is dangerous and what we need to do to avoid it. The reason why they do it is comfort. Frantz Fanon's quite keen on this. He says it, you have a lot of people in psychosis walking around. He talks about when he was in Algeria because he was kicked out of his home country. A lot of them are experiencing mental illness, not because they were mentally unwell, but because of the impacts of racism. And so when you don't understand how it permeates how even the doctors were perceiving these people that were coming into this institution. It is crazy to believe that black people feel that they're going to be immune to this by owning their own land, especially when we see that it can be taken away from you. In New York now, a lot of people, black people in particular, get their brownstones taken away from them. These are like the big buildings taken away from them at the flick of a pen. Okay, we've got other things like eminent domain happening as well, where a government, especially in the UK as well, will decide that they need to build something and they're going to take your house away from you. I live in Southwark. They've done that to a lot of leaseholders in blocks, where they've said, actually, we're going to knock your block down. And not only are we going to do that, we're going to pay you below the market rate. So you've paid off your house, you've had your mortgage, you've got your title. But the government can come in at a whim, and it's happened a lot in Brixton, when they've cleared out estates, they will come in and take stuff away from you. Capitalism will not save you, okay? And I need people, it's not even just about black and white. I need everybody to understand that it doesn't save you. It gives you the illusion of sovereignty, but it doesn't work like that, because when they want to, they will change a law. They will come in and use the state to get rid of you. When someone was mentioning as well about RFK, and him talking about disabled rights, the black struggle has always been the precursor to ensuring that everybody else gets that leg up. There's a lady on here called Toby. He does a lot in disability spaces as well, and she often references it was when black and brown people started throwing their physical disabled bodies on the floor, where laws in this and America changed to give disabled people rights. Okay, so as much as we want to pussyfoot around the bush, when we as black people start to advocate for our own rights and human rights, we uplift everybody. It's not just us, we take everybody with us, because we know that we don't exist in a vacuum. We are interdependent upon each other. And so whilst you might want to cling to your racism, you might want to cling to your ideology of superiority or whatever, narcissism as you call it here, it doesn't serve you, and it is not serving you. So when you're leaning into these things, the young man that was up there before, you're actually regressing, and you're a threat to the community, because what you're doing, did you notice that a lot of the racists came in when he came in and started to speak as well? Have you not clocked that as well? If you're getting consigned by alt-right people on this app, you are doing something wrong. And I cannot stress enough, it is not about trying to create this myth of generational wealth. Generational wealth is health and knowing that someone's going to look after you and knowing that you're happy. That's the only thing that we can rely on right now because of how things are changing, and people are not clocking onto this as well. So I'm just going to say it as well, like, I think we as a black community need to understand when we're looking at why black people are choosing oppression or brown people are choosing oppression. Colonialism didn't just happen to my people in the Caribbean when we were enslaved and taken away from the continent of Africa or in America. It also happened on the continent. There is a reason why you will see particular slaves of Nigerians in particular who are very much in support of the colonists of this system. Yeah. They've experienced a brutal type of colonialism as well, to the point where they're happy to erase their identity because it has allowed them to feel that they're going to be safe. And so as much as we have to have compassion for them, we also have to recognize that they weren't immune to the colonialist system that's happened. And that's why you saw them open up they were booty clapping, as Covey says, for Trump coming over and putting his military in there as well. Even when they were called a poo hole country by Trump, they've still opened up the doors to him. Why? Because they have been groomed, they have been conditioned to believe that their system is corrupt and that they can't do anything unless it's at the behest of a whitey person. So when we're seeing groups being or individuals being in alignment with capitalism and white supremacy, we need to have to understand that they've experienced colonialism, and they are, as Franz Fanon says, they are experiencing that double conscious. They are having to really reduce themselves down because they feel that they're going to get some sort of safety from it. It is sad, but it's something that we as a community need to be mindful of and start talking to each other about how we can tackle this. If you're a black person and you subscribe to any kind of ism, racism, sociology, sexism, misogyny, you are against black people. Because you
absolutely
the harm,
no homophobia, no disability, none of it. If you are anti-black. You are literally anti-black if you are those ways.
And just to end the last bit as well, socialism was not about anything other than just equaling the means of production. Socialism has its flaws. I don't even subscribe to socialism in its entirety, but it's a damn sight better than where we are now. Because if we're all working and we're paying into the system, you should provide housing, you should provide healthcare, you should provide education. It shouldn't be a case that we're having to pay for children to get to school and also pay for them to be fed when we are the 8th or the 5th richest country in the world. What are we doing? Anyway, I'm going to end it on that because there's so much more, but I'm glad he came up. As I said, I'm so, I'm sitting there thinking this is someone who's experienced horrific events at the behest of the state. I feel for him, but unfortunately, and as we see it a lot, these racists know what they're doing. They will target people who are vulnerable within our community, and they will use them to go and do the bidding at their behest. Him coming here was a recruitment strategy. They prime him. Oh, you look like my sister. Oh, yes, I agree. Oh, you're looking beautiful. They do it on purpose because they're trying to ingratiate themselves with people. I regard them as a cult. I look at them as a cult. If you start to look at how cults are formed and practices, you will notice that a lot of these black contrarians, a lot of these black men on here that are talking about, oh yeah, generational wealth, and we've got to do better as a community, they are subscribing to a cult, and it's dangerous. So yeah, anyway.
I'm so not clued up with a lot of that stuff, and that's why I kind of stick to this space because it is so crazy. It's too crazy out there. The TikTok land and all of its crazy conversation. It's too much. There's too much nonsense, and I actually haven't seen a lot of it because when I do see it, I'm just like, that looks crap.
I'm gonna say last thing as well. We've got there was someone one of the mods was asking as well. We've got a Turning Point UK. Okay, Turning Point was Charlie Kirk's baby. Charlie Kirk was a guy that was a pain in the neck, and unfortunately he's no longer with us. but he was groomed by, again, this conservative body that go around. They know that if someone is more educated, if they are more in liberal spaces, they are more susceptible to becoming people who turn against conservatism. So there was a reason why Turning Point UK was formed. Look at me with my pen. There was a reason why.
Hear it? I love it when you do that.
It was to go onto these campuses and co-opt vulnerable people and make them go and do their bidding. And that is why we now have them in the UK. Not only do we have an arm of them in the UK, they have recruited black people. If you look at their website, you will see people that you see on Question Time, that you see on TV, that you see on LBC, coming in to talk and talk down on the black community. There's now this idea about Stormzy's, the Cambridge scholarships and Stormzy doing that. There was someone who was on LBC last night and I was listening because Ian Dale was getting slayed, who I can't stand. And they were saying, look, I know I can't stand him.
No, just because I've put in the Turning Point UK website because I'm going to show it to the people.
Do you see that girl? She's a journalist as well, isn't she? Do you see how scary it is? And this is
I've got something else.
Go and look at my pictures. Yeah, when you start to clock who they're targeting and who they're using to disseminate this information out as well, you start to put the pieces together. There is a reason why they go into media. There's a reason why they're using black and brown faces, because they know that we are the zeitgeist. What we say, everybody else tends to follow. Just like when it came to civil rights, turn into human rights, turn into feminine.
The homepage, Turning Point UK home page. The first person you see, black guy.
Because they go under the auspices that, we're protecting your Christian values, we're protecting your rights as a man, as a black man. This is what you need to do. But then when you look, there's another page that shows you Dominique Samuels, and there's another journalist, I've forgotten her name, Esther, forgotten her name. You will see these people pop up. People. They are priming the next generation. They're making us politically what's the word? I don't want to swear on here. They're taking the balls out of us, our community, because they know that if they can get to people's mindsets now, then it's very hard for them to admit when they get older that they've bought into this lie of racism. And that is why it's so dangerous. And you need to start looking at them. There's another group that exists in America. I forgot, they're a Catholic cult. I've forgotten their name. Clarence Thomas, who's a black justice on the Supreme Court, he wanted to be a part of it, but they're so racist they won't allow him in, but he wanted to be a Catholic priest. There's a whole story about that as well.
Apparently I've got the wrong site. Let me find the right one, but continue.
No, there is a Turning Point UK, there's a Turning Point US, and there's a Turning Point UK.
I put in Turning Point UK. I just put in UK. Yeah, I put that in, and it went to turning-point.uk. Oh, okay. So hold on. Well, at least though, if people think they're signing up for Turning Point, they'll get that one, and they'll be on a different path.
The charity were complaining about it as well, because they're saying that it was doing that as well. But I need people to understand this is not happening in a vacuum. When you're seeing lives that are being promoted on your page, when you're seeing these guys coming up and saying the N words, they're being groomed to do this. When we see what happened in Edinburgh, where the guy's gone into the street and tried to unalive people in a mosque, this is by design. They wind people up on here and they let them go off and do it. There's a type of teism that is called, because of S, I've forgotten its name. It is dangerous for us to be in this vacuum and not being, these people that are choosing to align with their oppressors are not being groomed to do so.
I'm sure this is the right one now, guys, right? But it looks like it was made by a child. Like, this is one of the worst websites I've seen so far. Is this an official website for them? Because it's terrible. The way it's made is horrific. It's not made very well at all. Is this the right?
And you start to see their members, and a few of the faces will start to look
about.
Activism. Look at the activism.
Activism, okay.
Because there was one person who I was like, oh, I just saw her on Question Time. What's she doing? And then I said, it makes sense. to Question Time, it makes sense. As to, I think they've moved her image.
Oh, they've got even stupid Reese Moggs on there.
Yeah. Now you know you're a wrong one when you've got that on there. I will. It's on my video. I will try and see if I've still got the images on it because there's a gallery. There's 3 of them in particular I find very dangerous because you wouldn't even know that they're part of the organization. And he's got his own church, so he's got his own cult. So they have from kindergarten up to university, they have their own educational system.
Oh no!
And they're priming themselves to take over. So what you see with what's going on with Trump now and his failing bells and stuff, they've got the heir apparent that's already ready to come in as well.
The indoctrination starts young. I don't know if you've also seen, I saw a video which mortified me about in America, they were literally doing reenactments in a church. I can't remember, was it in Kentucky or something like that? A reenactment of basically like on a, did anyone see this? Let me try and explain it properly. There was a church, there was loads of kids inside there. You then saw these army people coming through with guns. You saw it, Julia, yeah. And they literally reenacted murdering somebody in front of these kids. So they were becoming desensitized. You saw it as well. Maybe. But did you see the kids at the back, some of them covering their ears like this? That's the part the most that broke my heart. The ones who actually were triggered by it. Yeah, honestly, you need to go and see it. It's horrible. Horrible, 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 horrible. In a church. Right? And this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. These organized religions have never been correct for black and brown people. And they've never been correct for even white people as well. Because, you know, we talk a lot about paganism. We talk about those roots. This is not how it's supposed to be at all. And that was horrible. Like, honestly, I was so shocked to see that. Really shocked to see that. Yeah. Mimi, some last points and then I'm going to close the live.
I'm gonna see if I've still got the images. I'll send it over to you because you might need it in the future. And then also as well,
yes,
just to sort of say, as much as I can have grace for people, I also believe that we need to leave them behind because they're dangerous. So if you are listening to conversations like this and you're still in your kind of programming, it's not for us to deprogram it, it's for you to come out of it yourself. When you look into how cults are formed and how people come out of cults as well, they do talk about, unless you've got the time to intensively do the one-on-one with them, you're not going to get anywhere with them. You can allow them into your spaces and stuff, but you shouldn't be allowing them to recruit, which is not what you were doing. So this is not about you, so don't worry. But what I noticed is that people try to do, everyone deserves to have a platform, everyone deserves to speak. Actually, no. If the person is speaking points that are against your your very existence and your very humanity, then you should be cutting that off. And some of us are not realizing one of Covey's things at the moment she keeps talking about is this conversations, and we're having these diaspora wars and we're having these tit for tats back and forth. You're arguing with a computer. Yeah. When you're looking at what's going on in the comments, when you look at them coming in, you look at the lightning bolt. When you look at the other stuff in your chat alone, you see these bots coming in. They're not always user, and a lot of them, because TikTok now tells you where people are based, they're not even in the West. They're being warehoused. Okay, I know. Listen, let me and my pen stop for now. Thank you so much as always. I always have to end with saying thank you for holding the live. Thank you. It's a lot of energy. It's a lot.
Thank you, Mimi.
So we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much as always, Mimi. And yeah, that's a brilliant last point to end on is this bots. And we talked about the energy earlier. If you're spending your time arguing with bots, like it's useless. And I will call out if anybody is here and has their own TikTok platform and you are giving too much time and energy to right-wing people, to bots, you are failing. Honestly, and I need to bring this up as maybe a topic up here, is honestly, there are too many people on here who are holding lives and are completely failing at protecting themselves, protecting everybody else around, who are literally feeding into the propaganda, Like, you are failing. And that's why I said that's the reason why I'm not really on other people's spaces, because it's so much bullshit. People are arguing all the time. People are furious. Every conversation that goes around the right-wing person, because when we start arguing, it gets people in the room. No, that's not what we're supposed to be doing. Why is it that, and I'm going to talk about left or right, and you know me, guys, you know I'm centrist. If this app is full of right-wing people and right-wing spaces, why are the left also allowing right-wing people to speak? Why? Where are the spaces and the conversations for the left? Where? There is not enough space for us to actually talk and realize the things we're supposed to be doing to fix the state of the world, because it is in a fucking state. It is a state. But you're so much more keyed into the drama, and there was that live where we talked about blah, blah, blah. And I've had a go at people on this app already. There's a lot of people I don't follow anymore. Some of you were here. I don't think Skyper is here anymore, but Skyper was here. I talked about somebody a few weeks ago, maybe it was last week, that he was talking about, being Muslim, and I wanted to know a little bit more. Of course, I've moved to a Muslim country. I talk to certain people. Yes, it's just, but everybody has their own interpretation of what their connection is with religion, right? I want to learn more about Islam. He spent the whole freaking time talking to this right-wing idiot for God knows how long, and it was horrible. Honestly, it was horrible. The space ended up being horrible because the guy was misogynist, he was racist, he was Islamophobic, because the host was more interested in fighting for Islam towards this one guy. No, don't defend yourself. Talk about who you are as people. If somebody is not keen on learning about you, they're not for you. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. You see me, I never defend myself. Someone comes here, Africa, don't tell me who I am, because I know who I am. I don't need to convince myself about nobody at all. At all. You think what you think in your mind because you're racist. You're racist. You can't convince a racist of nothing. Don't waste your time on energy on none of that. None of that. Stick to what you're supposed to do. On the screen, if there's something that you want to discuss that. Honestly, that's why I can't. You'll never find me really in a lot of these other lives, because they're a waste of time and energy. So thank you so much. And yes, Mimi, exactly. You would not talk to these people like this in real life. You would walk away. You really would. You would have your boundaries asserted a lot better in real life. You'd be like, I didn't like the way that person spoke to me. I'm not going to get in an argument with them. Like, what the hell is this? You'd walk away. And that's it. And actually, that's what I did say to that person. I said, you haven't asserted your boundaries at all in this space. And they apologized. I get a lot of apologies from people on this app. Oh, I'm sorry that I did this. I'm sorry that I don't, whatever. Fix up, because you're disappointing us and you're letting the side down. Thank you so much, everybody. That was a wonderful live. Thank you again to all the moderators. Always really lovely to have you here. Lovely to have you guys here as part of the conversation. I hope that you enjoyed this new format that I'm going to try and do lots of different prompts. And I will come on again tomorrow with some of the things maybe the same, and some other topics maybe if they are come around. Thank you so much for the compliment, comrade. It was really good to talk to you and everybody else as well here. So I'm wishing you all a wonderful rest of the day. See, I can't talk anyway. I told you I'm done. I'm done. I need to eat. And I will see you again tomorrow. Right. See you later, guys. Bye. Bye, bye, bye. Bye.